Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Upsurge. We're in here for the UPL. We're in the lower finals. My name's Travisy. I am joined here by Gus Posey. And Gus, we have a very, very exciting matchup here for us today.
Yeah, we've got Issues Critical taking on Orgless, who took down 100 Thieves next last week around. But today's a little special because we got best of 5 today. We got a long series ahead of us, and these players are very exciting. Lots of things to go over, but we're going to be getting into game 1 here in just a little bit. But we didn't even ask, how are you doing? How you doing today?
Doing great, doing fantastic. I am just ready for everything to go on. Some good old League of Legends. I've been injecting Final Fantasy VII Remake into my veins ever since Friday, so I'm just ready to get into some good old League, man. It's been a hot minute. And by the way, people are already noticing you and me, we are rocking out with our respective team wear, I guess is the best way to put it over here.
Apparel.
Yeah, apparel. That's a good word.
Yeah.
A word of choice. You got your TSM. I, of course, am representing my boys, Team Liquid. But we got a good one coming up with just the fact of the matter that we do have the possible whoever wins this gets the salty run back, as I like to call it, where both of these teams found themselves in the lower bracket because of the team that's currently sitting in finals first blood crusade.
Yeah, and whichever team's coming in out of this series, they're going to be riding a good wave of momentum because anytime you win a best of 5, even if it's 5 1-hour long games where it comes down to some crazy base race shenanigans or something, you're going to be hyped once you win a best of 5 and get back into the finals and get to take another crack at first blood. So both these teams should be raring and ready to go here, as I think we're going to be getting into draft here in a little bit. But just like you said, I love that the term salty run back has just kind of come into lexicon lately. Like, it's even on the pro streams now. And it was always something that people recognized as existing, but never was really just in use until ESPN came into the picture for LCS, I guess.
Yeah. Salty run back. I mean, it's been a terminology that's been around for a while in the fighting game scene, that's for sure, because it is something that happens actually quite often over there. But I'm ready to see what exactly they'll be able to break. I want to see what these teams are able to bring. Issue is critical. And Orgless are both very interesting teams because on one hand we have your UPL world champions. Yeah, we're just calling them that, UPL world champions. They're not just regular champions; they're world champions. And then you go over on the other hand, you got the team that survived the group of death. That was basically, you would feel like it's been forged in fire at this point in time. It's been tested, and everything about it just screams how strong they are. So I'm ready to see what these two teams break out against each other in a best of 5.
Yeah, and I think there's going to be a lot of priority put on the Syndra pick because both Command Attack and Young have been playing a bunch of Syndra. As I'm sure every mid laner recently has been playing a ton of Syndra. But the champion is just so strong and is able to be picked into just about any matchup. So having her, and then obviously anytime you play against Orgless, City Witty ends up taking a lot of the bans. The Graves and Kindred were something that we saw a lot last week. He actually did get to play Kindred in game 3 against 100 Thieves next last week as well. So, you got to keep an eye out on him in those carry champions that he can play coming out of the jungle. And, you can never keep your eyes off of Vex and Lutano in that bottom lane for Orgless either. But we're getting into draft now, so I'm excited.
Yeah, me too here, as we're already starting to see some of the bans come on through. First ban, Ezreal. He is slippery, and he blinks away from everything possible. Next goes over to Orgless, see what they respond with, as that was an instant ban. No, getting no Ezreal today.
Yeah, and Orgless hovering the Senna ban, this is something that they ban every time. Like, every game that they're in, they ban Senna. So no surprises there. Just the champion just allows you to do so many different things. You can play with the Tahm Kench, get an actual tanky Tahm Kench like you could when he was top lane or when he was jungle back in the day. You can play with Set. You can play with all sorts of fun things down there. So just taking that out and then taking away the LeBlanc as well is something that can do really well in the early mid game. piloting her as the game gets later is a little tricky. You have to find the correct flanks and the correct angles to get into these fights to make things happen. And there's the Syndra ban. Orgless just saying, we don't want to deal with this. We're just going to say, nope. Command attack, you may be named after Orianna, board banning the other champion that uses the balls.
Yeah, Syndra, you were just talking about it, is a very, very strong champion inside the mid lane, and even inside of the bot lane in general. We see a lot of people playing Syndra bot lane as well. So taking that off the board means that you're checking a couple things off, making sure it's going to be A-okay. And Varus being the next on the list to take a ban here, while Set looking to be banned as well, which Jets will leave Issue is Critical with their first pick. And there's a lot of power picks open.
Yeah, City Witty actually didn't eat a ban at all, so anything that he would want to play is available. Lots of things but taking it away from him, there's the Graves first pick for Issue is Critical. Now, Graves is actually stronger now than he was when he got nerfed all those years ago. So I'm surprised that we haven't seen too much of him coming back in. But on the side of Orgless, man, you just got that Ornn and that Misfortune. The ornaments, they still come in clutch later on. And Misfortune allows you some early game power and transitions very well into the mid game. Doesn't scale as well as something like a Kai'Sa or a Xayah or something along those lines, but still is no slouch in the late game either.
Yeah, I'm really surprised actually that both Ornn and Misfortune got to go through there, and a Darius to be the counter pick, and we got ourselves some Zilean time here. Command attack knows his way around this champion for sure, and this is why I usually get excited to see him. It's just because of some good old-fashioned Zilean play. But Silas being hovered on the other side.
I was gonna say, if City Witty wants to pick the Kindred, now would be the time to do it. Otherwise, it's probably going to get banned up in the second ban phase. So, Kindred Ornn with the Misfortune, that's a lot of team fighting power for the side of Orgless right now. But Issue is Critical. It looks kind of like a solo queue comp right now just because of Darius being there. Yeah. But you got to remember, just a couple years ago, the Zilean was super popular with Kindred and Hecarim. You pair the Zilean mid with a carry jungler, and you give them 2 lives. They can go in, they can be aggressive, they can make things happen, eat that chrono shift, come on back, and come back in with full health, because AP Zilean pretty much always heals you for full health.
Yeah, it's actually disgusting what Zilean is able to do, and most can be played in a multitude of lanes, and is a very scary resource and could be really good to go together. But with the bans flying on through, so we're seeing some support bans. Morgana Nautilus being banned away. We do know that Zilean is going to be played in the mid lane, more than likely. And now seeing Issue is Critical, they are going to have one last ban, and it is going to be Taric.
I was going to say, Taric is up. It's something that we've seen rise a lot in popularity. However, that leaves up Yuumi, which was banned, I believe, all 3 games against Orgless last week. So you combine Yuumi with the Kindred, and it's kind of like Zilean Graves in a way, where you just have a super carry jungler buffed up as well. But we'll see what IIC wants to lock in for their bottom lane here, if they want to end up flexing that Zilean down to support or something crazy along those lines. But, you know, they just need something very solid down here, I believe, with just a touch of scaling.
Yeah, just a little tap, and
there you go. There's some scaling right there.
That's a little tap, and it's crazy seeing Affiliates go all the way through to the second phase. But here it is, and now let's see what support they decide to pair together with an Aphelios. Options are slightly limited here.
And there's a lot of things. If you want a little bit of a cheese pick into Yuumi, play Volibear support. It's really good into Yuumi. Yuumi jumps off, you press E, and now she can't reattach. But Thresh, all reliable. You know, just the champion with some of the craziest ways to make things happen that the game has ever seen. Always something that can always be played.
Also pairs really well with the jungler of choice that they have picked, which is that Graves, and an Azir to be picked up could be something very, very nifty for them to actually have into the Zilean matchup. Zilean not known to be a super aggressive pick early on in the game, so Azir can take that time to shove and push. But it is swapped at the last moment over to an Orianna. So they're going for the whole wombo combo mess.
Yeah, and funny enough, Young is going to be playing Orianna against Command Attack. So we'll see just how well Command Attack knows how to play against Orianna compared to playing the champion itself. So these drafts are a lot of fun, and it's kind of what you expect from game one of a best of 5. Everyone just brings out the fun stuff, sees what's worked, see who's playing well that day, and you go from there. Because if this series goes to game 5, the champion and picks may be completely different, but game 1 should be pretty spicy.
Yeah, I like this too. If you're looking over at Issues Critical, they do have some counter picks of their own that kind of go into this. Darius into Ornn is going to be a very interesting one to watch, just because Darius traditionally will counter an Ornn pretty hard and beat the heck out of him in lane, and will beat the heck out of him any other time. But I'm also very curious to see how this Graves moves around the map with a Kindred, because Kindred kind of dictates where you want to go and how do you need to adjust your pathing to stop her from getting all those juicy stacks.
Yeah, and the stacks super important on Kindred, especially the first increase, because the first one requires 4. Everyone after the first one is only 3 stacks required, so making sure that you can path and prevent Kindred from getting the free marks from counter jungling, or the first one is the Scuttle Crab, so you just kind of have to 50-50 guess which Scuttle Crab it's going to be. And if the Kindred gets it, feels real great. And if it's on the other side to the one you committed, you just like, well, damn, that kind of sucks. But
yeah, there's so many supportive things to go along with this team too. You hit on it a little bit. A Yuumi that's going to be able to sit on Kindred Misfortune. You have an Orianna. Ornn is a very supportive champion as well. So it's actually very curious to look at, because these are all champions that can put in their work to kind of carry their own way, but there's a lot of eyes definitely on the Kindred, just because you also got City Witty, who's very notorious on said champion, but also this Misfortune and how their abilities play out. While on the other side, I think you touched on it earlier where you said it's a much more of a solo queue-ish composition. This is very much so something that you would more likely see in solo queue than in a competitive game.
Yeah, and I think the big thing for IIC is to get Neraxis ahead against the Ornn. Now that Ornn got his nurse and his items and everything comes at a level later, you really just need to beat on him as much as humanly possible. Keep him down, try to starve him away from as much experience as you can, so that way he cannot upgrade those items, get those ornaments going, because they are worth a ton of gold, especially when you have champions like the Misfortune with the upgrade Infinity Edge that's really strong. Kindred, depending on what Kindred ends up building, you've got Blade of the Rune you can upgrade, you've got Black Cleaver you can upgrade, you've got Infinity Edge you can upgrade as well. And Orianna, an upgraded Death Cap with a Shockwave it's devastating. So you got to be on the lookout. Plus, whatever Yuumi ends up deciding to buy, Luden's Echo or something.
Yuumi just buys whatever, it's just a cat's life, man. Just does whatever they want to do, and that's the scary thing with this pick. It's a kitty cat that heals everybody. It stays attached. You don't really have to do too terribly much. You can play it with foot pedals if you like, but it does become a very curious thing to look at inside of this game. And I'm going to be very curious on the timing of ultimates too, because you were hitting on that with Orianna, the Yuumi, and Ornn, all these champions. Zilean and Kindred have the champion to save somebody.
Yes.
And keep them alive. And I'm very curious whenever you get to see those two mechanics come to life, especially because I think Zilean, in a head-to-head between like a Kindred and Kindred Zilean's ultimates side by side, I tend to think I like Zilean a little bit more, because even though you save only one person,
they're full health.
they're full health, but it's also, you're trapped in a little area.
Yeah.
Zilean could throw a double bomb in that. That could be a trap waiting to happen.
Very much so. And, City Witty played a ton of Kindred. I'm sure he knows the ins and outs of Lamb's Respite and what to do. But there's also a lot of just random peel abilities. Ornn can come in and do knockups. Orianna's got that shield that scales really well when she has some AP items going. And you have a Yuumi. So, a Yuumi heal combined with Lamb's Respite, and you're probably full health anyway. So
I feel like this is what every single point goes back to. It's just like, and they have a Yuumi.
There's a reason why it got banned every game last week. So, that's kind of the model a lot of teams have. When someone plays Yuumi, they're just like, no. We're
stop
just not
it. Yeah,
gonna
just
deal
stop
with
it. Stop it. Stop it. We're going to make sure that they are not going to be allowed to do any of that. And you know what? I can completely understand.
Very much so.
Well, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I believe we are going to take ourselves a short break, get ourselves ready for the next game. We got an ad coming up, so make sure that you stay tuned for a word from our sponsor.
Started with a vision. A vision of quality, a vision of uniformity. We took the time to create something familiar yet refreshing, something with a bit of change.
Designed to fit any brand's unique vision.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome on back to UPL. We are getting into game one of the lower bracket finals here between Issues Critical and Orgless. I'm Travis C. I'm joined here with Guster, and we are seeing a very standard start from all these teams.
Yeah, just a standard 5-man fan out. Looks like City put his ward down. We'll be swapping on over to the sweeper. So that's something some junglers do, just so that way they have the sweeper for their first round of ganks to deny as much vision as possible. Was spotted with it though, so ward for ward, they all know that they have vision there. But looks like City is going to start top anyway.
I was about to say, very curious thing too to look at is they did very shallow vision there. Usually you see teams when they push in like that, they go for a little bit deeper vision. That word won't give them much in the way of information.
Yeah, City does not have to path past that ward at all, so it should be pretty simple for him.
Yeah. As you can see, Zillion going inside of the jungle here. He might find Young, as Young is going to go ahead and hit him back. Says, that's payback for the bomb command.
Hit him with the command attack to command attack.
Command attack getting command attacked. What kind of world do we live in? As laning phase is now starting on up. As see a little bit of trading already happening here. And I wanted to actually talk to you real quick about the fact we got a phase rush Graves over here in the jungle.
Yeah, it's something that has been gaining a bit of popularity. Narax is just procs passive on Lawrence. Does about half his health. He's Zorn. He should be all right as long as he doesn't go right on back in. But phase rush Graves, you can just chase people down. You go in, you proc it, and you just keep running them down, smacking them with those shotgun blasts. And it's just kind of the same thought process behind the Orianna with the phase rush. You just get that extra kind of ability. But Narax is hitting level 2. Lawrence in a bit of trouble.
Yeah, this passive is procced here. Not going to be able to get another auto there. But yet again, taking a heaping amount of damage. And this is why people tend to pick Darius into the Ornn. You can even see he's taking the Ghost inside of this matchup too. So he's just looking to be very, very aggressive.
Yeah, once you get low and you're on the other side of the lane and Darius pops Ghost, you just have to fight. Ooh, hook lands.
Yeah, hook is going to connect. That is going to be a good death sentence that will take away half the HP of King Vets, but is going to back it on up as Yuumi, that cat, was scratching away at the toes. City in the mid lane, trying to get some damage on the command attack. Very hard to gank a Zillion once he hits level 3.
Yeah, very hard indeed. But, down there in that bottom lane, you got to all in to kill. Otherwise, Yumi's just going to heal it back up. Not able to do it at this point in the game. So, Yuumi, once you hit level 2, you got access to your heal. But the collapse onto City.
Yeah, they're looking for it. It is going to go on over. So it is going to be secured by the Kindred. So he gets his first mark for himself.
Yeah, and that's big. Even though you had to blow your flash for that, getting the Scuttle Crab to spawn on the side you were at, pathing down to it, even getting collapsed on, still getting it, that first one, like I said, is very important because that one costs 4 marks to get that first upgrade. And, now you just got to be cognizant and communicate with your team as to where your mark is, how you're planning to go about it, and also marking the correct people when you go in for these ganks to get the marks off of that passive as well.
And it does draw into another very interesting thing in the mid lane. We did see command attack back and immediately teleport back into lane to pick up a Dark Seal potion and a control ward for him. So it's a very interesting back timing actually coming through and early use of the TP.
Yeah, and he puts down the control ward in that bush behind red buff. It's a bush that not a lot of people go through until they know that you put wards there. Then it's checked for the rest of time.
Yeah, and Lawrence taking such a heaping amount of damage right there. Those summoners had to be blown there, and Darius was 6. That was an instant death for Lawrence.
Yep, and Young getting his back stopped as well. But Lawrence, he can get this CS, hits level 5, but gotta be just a bit careful. This Darius doesn't have the passive procced up, so has a little bit of leeway, but he's just under tower the whole game. That's his game right now. Yep. He's just last hitting the best you can under tower, muttering under your breath, I hate my life right now.
I hate being top lane. I'm always put on Ornn duty. It's a terrible life I live.
But the fact he's only down 5 CS with as much punishment as he's been taking is actually really good.
Yeah, no, this is fantastic. This is exactly what they want with an Ornn in the top lane. If you're down like a certain... It's kind of like what Shen used to be, where everybody would just say, all right, you used to pick Shen And it's just like, as long as you're like not more than like 10 CS down, you're doing a great job in your lane. But ooh, we're seeing a bit of action coming out here. Cleanse is pop. King Vet's taking a lot of damage in return.
Oh,
Meech and
City
Kev
does a
are
lot.
in a bad spot though, as they're just laying into damage, and it could be another one. Meech going to be able to get out, but it's just going to end with first blood going to City Witty.
Yeah, and that mounting dread stacking up. I believe the red smite went down as well. So all that damage combined with the execute on the mounting dread nets City Witty that first blood and that gold. And with that dagger, he built out Berserker Greaves early on. So not rushing to complete that jungle item. I would imagine he's going for Warrior this game, considering they don't really have any tanks on the opposing side. So Warrior, the no-brainer option here. But getting those Berserker Greaves is actually really good, and it's something I've seen a lot of marksmen do a lot recently, is just get the Berserker Greaves. Give you the good attack speed, the extra movement speed, and City doesn't care. He's just going in.
His Ghost has been popped. Now it's just going to be over here onto the side. That's going to be the Zillion who's going to go ahead and pop his ultimate. He's staying alive. City Witty is going to go down. One shotgun blast to finish him off, as Graves is going to be able to secure that kill.
Yeah, a little bit on the overconfident side there from City. Just trying to get that next mark on that other Scuttle Crab. But that's the thing, is it can also be a good bait. As the Hex Flash comes out, hook lands.
Yeah, they are going to be able to get a good hook onto King Vets, but the problem is they just can't do too much that the Yuumi cannot repair.
Yeah, whittling down your lane opponent is not really an option with the Yuumi, as City found the ward.
Yeah, there he goes.
But you have to find a way to get a good all-in against this Yuumi, because, unless the Yuumi is just completely out of mana, the heals are just going to keep coming.
Yeah, it's the big problem that they have to deal with. Probably going to have to call Graves down there to be able to finish him off. Get that little bit of burst to finish everything off. Now, City Witty looking hit down towards this bottom side area, giving over this blue buff to Young. And
I see pinging out where these kindred marks are. I love this communication against a kindred. Is you understand, hey, gonna be looking for something around here because this mark is up. Gonna try and start off the dragon, but IIC is waiting for it.
Check this out. Lawrence is down here as well. Darius is over in the top lane looking for a possible steal. They do get it in the Lantern. What a smooth criminal is this Graves, getting out scot-free.
Yeah, the only thing we're missing here is an Annie, We're just missing Annie because they got out of that. They blew the Call of the Forge God. Just the Smite and the Graves ultimate came out. That was it. Easy breezy.
That was beautifully done, using the burst that comes out of the Kit of Graves to utilize that steal, and great communication too, because you got that Thresh there waiting with the Lantern to go ahead and pull him on out of there. So I'm very happy to see that. Very curious thing to take note of, by the way, is if you look over in the top lane, you saw Ornn had TP back over, catch that wave. Look at Darius's build. He is going to be Blade of the Ruined King.
I saw that. I haven't seen too much of this, but, Blade of the Ruined King got buffed recently, and now does the 12% on hit, 4 melee champions.
I have done it, and I enjoy it, to be honest, against Ornn. It just makes Ornn's life suffering. And
Bork Black Cleaver is super efficient against tanks.
Lawrence. Caught in a bad spot. He is in danger, or is he? City Witty's here to back him on up. Basic Blonde here in the area did grab Shelly, so they will make it out of there. But a free rotation onto this mid tower is now for Orgless.
I like the restraint, though, from Orgless, because they could have tried to chase and, forced out the Chrono Shift, but recognizing, hey, he's just going to Chrono Shift. We're not going to get anything out of it. We can go up and get some damage on mid, get ourselves a plate, secure another Scuttle Crab for City Witty, and I believe that is 2. So halfway to the first passive upgrade on Kindred. And, game pretty much even.
Yeah, very, very even game here. And it's actually kind of crazy to say that, because it has looked like Orgless has been in control of certain areas. Like, they have had an idea of where they want to be at. Vicious Critical has been doing a great job of making sure to destabilize any plans they may have.
Yeah, but one thing is the fact that ISU was able to get that first Drake is big because they're the team that needs to scale up a bit. Zillion doesn't really do any damage till later on in the game when he has a bunch of AP behind those bombs. And Aphelios scales, super hard as well. So them getting that dragon sets them up to not have to be in a position where they're facing Soul Point early on in the game.
Yeah, and like this dude Graves already down here in the bot lane knowing, hey, this Ornn is just getting bullied. So let's get ready to drop some Shelly over here. Call the Forge God is going to come on out. Going to try and use that for a little bit of wave clear. It's going to be a lot of damage coming back his way. The collateral damage he'll being used. Lawrence is going to have an outplay and make it out scot-free with this. Lots of damage being turned back. Graves wants him, but it's just going to be another death for them. They do grab the kill. It does come down as just an execution, so no kill credit to the Ornn, but Lawrence doing a fantastic job with them dancing shoes on.
Yeah, it does lose a bit of pressure, though, the fact that Basic Blonde did have to die for that. City BDA was able to pick up the full wave bottom and shove it under tower, so those are minions that will be killed by the tower, and no one gets the experience or gold for them. And he's got the beeline for this next camp with his mark on it, so if he is able to secure this, it will be 3, so 1 more for the first passive upgrade, which is very big. And at 12 minutes in the game, having 3 marks, I think most Kindred players would sign up for that in a heartbeat.
Yeah, they'd be fine with being able to secure that for themselves. We're seeing some recalls coming through. We see the Orianna actually starting to get the components for that Luden's Echo. Zillion has that Rod of Ages now. So as you were talking about with the scaling, very important to take note of. And some of these other champions starting to get some of those components that they must have.
Yeah, and Vex has finished Essence Reaver on that Misfortune, so has a pretty decent little power spike now, as Meech still just sitting on the pickaxe for the Infinity Edge. Is down about 20 CS, but, when you're a scaling AD carry, that's, not ideal, but it's by no means the end of the world. But here comes Rift Herald.
Yeah, here comes Shelly. Here comes Shelly. You guys might want to run away. If that Death Sentence connected, could have been very tragic for them indeed. Basic Blonde now trying to get out of dodge as HP bars are a little bit low, but it's the last chapter. A bot's to be dropped, and Thresh will be brought back into life. The bombs have been strategically put, and a shockwave whiffs. Beautiful, beautiful play coming out between these two teams, trying to secure whatever advantage they can, and both narrowly escaping different situations.
Can you call that shockwave a whiff, though?
Yeah.
Just because it was flashed out of?
It's true.
I think that was 100%.
Didn't hit anybody, though.
I think that was 100% I'm going to force his flash shockwave. If not, he dies.
Yeah. That's, you know what? I'll give you that one. But, didn't get to hit anybody.
Justice for Orianna players. Not
justice for
Orianna.
I was about to say, you're really fighting hard for this not to be called a whiff. I look, anything that doesn't hit is a whiff to me. You didn't hit him.
I suppose that's
true. They used all of their summoners to get away from me. Bad. You didn't hit him. That's all I got for it. But hey, there you go. Drake has been secured now. It is going to be a Mountain Drake that they're able to secure for themselves. That will be nice for the Ornn. And it's going to be Ocean for the rest of the game.
Yeah, and Ocean Soul still, I think, the best soul.
I would agree with you.
Ocean Soul, even after the nerfs it got when it first came out, it's still crazy. Like, if you get it, it's pretty much GG unless your team comp is just that bad to where you actually cannot team fight. So either one of these teams getting the Ocean Soul is absolutely massive.
I like how the restraint that came out here in the bot side. Kindred coming in for this gank. So beautifully done. The Call of the Forge God will come on through, but it's not enough as Command Attack is not able to get there in time for his team. And that was just absolutely beautifully set up between Lawrence and City Witty.
Yeah, the only downside for City there is he did not have an Araxis selected, so that's not the 4th mark, but Ken going for a hook.
Yeah, he lands it onto the minion, gets behind him, goes for that flank, but it's just going to be Thresh going down here to King Vet, but they're turning it around onto the backside here. Meech trying to get the damage in, is going to find himself
look at those shutdowns,
but Meech is just tearing them apart. Have mercy, Meech! Have mercy as King Vet puts him down. A triple kill to come out for this Misfortune, using the bullet time for wave clear. And oh, geez, just chaos happening up there in the top side of the map.
There were so many chakrams stacked up by Meech, just going in crazy. Yeah, and we're going to have a replay of this coming up here. But, man, just take a look at this. Kenvi lands the hook on the minion to come back to flay Vex in. The last chapter coming out from the Yuumi. But watch Lawrence on the bottom side here. Takes so much damage. Young comes in, gets hit by the Aphelios turret. Taking a lot. And look at all these chakrams as we go back live as another fight's coming in.
Yeah, City Witty, he just wanted Scuttle. Let the man have some crab for dinner, okay? He is getting caught out inside of the river, and he still gets the crab, but it's going to be Herald that's going to be claimed up as a prize for issue is critical.
Yep. Second Herald of the game, obviously not worth as much like actual gold without the plates being there, but in a macro sense, it's almost better because if there's just a tower that you're just having just a hard time actually cracking, you throw that down and it'll take care of that for you. But Lawrence walking on into Ken V2.
Yeah. It needs to be very, very careful about that. Thresh is still a champion where if they land that death sentence, it will be very destructive. King Vet's looking very confident in terms of as a huge source of his team's damage, and you can see Darius having to answer to them over here in the bot side. Make sure they don't get that turret for free.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Foreigner Axis hasn't had the stomp that it looked like in the start of the early laning phase. Is 0-2, but with 3 assists, has the Blade of the Rune King completed, but honestly, the Blade of the Rune King doesn't help too much against Vex and Lutano here. Really pretty much only good against Ornn. You got a singular slow from the active of it, but you really just want to use that percent health damage to shred through Lawrence.
Yeah, it becomes an issue where it's just like, as Darius, you're a very one-dimensional champion. You get stacks, you dunk. Where do you make the most effectiveness out of it? In a side lane. This is definitely a build for side lanes. Oh, City Witty catch out command attack there. As I don't believe he was able to secure it. No, he did not get the red buff, but command attack gets spotted on that ward.
Yeah, City is at 4 stacks now, so does have that first little bit of upgraded Kindred passive, but second refill going mid, about 40 seconds left on this Drake, trying to get some damage down on this tower, but a hook lands onto City.
The fourth guy coming in, they're trying to spread out. It's going to land it onto 2 targets. Ken is going to be shining golden into the bat side. Will be a sacrifice for Young to pick up.
Yeah, and with that death coming in, it looks like Orgless should be able to get this first Ocean Drake pretty much scot-free. They still have all their ultimates, or not all of them, but they have the Lamb's Respite and the Shockwave still. So 2 very impactful ultimates. Just Young is a little bit low on mana, but it looks like IAC is just not even going to try. They're just going to go collect some waves and get some gold and say, all right, you win this round, we'll be back.
Yeah, they're going for what is the optimal play in terms of if you don't think you can contest it, let's go ahead and secure objectives, priority around the area, take away a couple stacks, make sure Kindred can't get this red buff. All of these fun little nuances as they will go ahead and sync up their recalls here, it does seem.
Yeah, and City recognizes that, hey, they're all in there, they're getting that red buff. I cannot go for that mark as much as it pains him as a Kindred player. I'm sure he has to cede that one.
You're just angrily pinging at it like, it's just right there, guys. It's right there. I can get the mark. Just follow me up. Follow me up. little bit of solo cute speak for you, and that is going to be another tower to go down. So keeping the towers 2-2 between these 2 teams. Gold completely even here, and I would say this is something, if the gold is even, I actually kind of feel like this favors the team that has the most Drakes at the current moment, which is Orgless.
Yeah, and Lawrence is 1 level off of upgrading his own items, so soon these ornaments are going to start coming out and providing extra power to all of Orgless, and Misfortune is getting close to the Infinity Edge. Actually, I believe she has it in just 1 more wave if she's waiting to actually straight up buy it. So, things are starting to turn here for Orgless. City has died a bit, but is, doing all right. And, they have the Ornn backup. They have Orianna. You just have to try and find a way to make sure that Aphelios can't destroy you in fights like he did in that top lane fight where Young just kind of got obliterated.
And I really want to see them how they play around this Darius right now. I want to see one of the big things with Darius is like I was talking about earlier. It's a very side lane dominant champion. With that, it takes a lot of practice, a lot of communication to actually play it out right. And I really want to see how they secure different fights and whatnot. If Lawrence has to be the one that's stuck answering the Darius.
Yeah, it should be all right now. Darius doesn't have the Black Cleaver just yet. Once that Black Cleaver comes in, though, that'll be hard for Lawrence to get on through.
There's the dunk already. He's looking for a straight up solo kill here. Is not going to be able to grab it. Call the Forge guy coming in. You're going to actually take a couple tower shots and will pick it on up and gets that kill. You were saying he was all right?
Yeah, I guess he doesn't need Black Cleaver after all. Lawrence ate everything. Got that full passive dunk.
Oh no, Meech, he's going to be caught out by City Witty. They're going to have the last chapter. They're going to be able to grab the Thresh. A bot is laid out, and they're going to be getting out. Young with the fancy dance moves, gets into the Lancer Spike. He's going to be able to stay alive for a little bit longer, and now the fight has to go on back. That's going to be a bullet time just to make sure that they back up. And Orgless able to answer with a kill of their own.
Yeah, and Meech always seems to have the chakrams available and is really good at stacking them up. Every time they go in for a fight, even when he kind of got caught out at the beginning, came in with the chakrams and was really threatening. Forced City Witty to stop chasing, force out the bullet time just to zone them away, but will secure Orgless this mid tower. So, Kindred looking for that mark on the Krugs. We'll see if IIC follow up on that and if they can catch him out.
Yeah, Yumi is there on top of him, so should be safe and will be able to grab that and is out of dodge. And that is the benefits of having your trusty cat companion go everywhere with you.
And also, City had a fantastic Lamb's Respite there just to make sure that Young did not go down there to that Graves ultimate that got fired out. Collateral damage, there wasn't actually any collateral damage that time.
Yeah, it was fairly fine. Just a dent, you can call your insurance company about it. They'll be able to fix it up. They're talking for your company. They got you. Game 23 minutes into the game here. With Baron up, we'll have a Drake that will be spawning here in the near future. Does lead into a question when we're seeing all this vision coming around here, especially over in the top side by Orgless.
Yeah, and it's about a minute before the Drake. This is when the plays happen, when people start to try and find picks before the Drakes like this. City going in.
Yeah, City Witty went on in. You saw Graves actually back it on up. Did not want to go with the dueling ability of him. Command attack. Trying to get him. Does not get the double bomb. That's very big. Lost chapter going to be coming out. Open up the book and get the bullet time. Kenby tries to jump on in. Tries to get some damage on the City Witty. Shockwave's only going to be able to connect on one. It's going to be on the Meech though. He's going to find himself going back to life. And that's going to be double bombs coming on in. He jumps into the Lancer Spike trying to find another kill. But it is just a triple kill for King Vets.
Yeah, and they're going to turn right on the Baron, and it's only Neuraxis and Command Attack. However, you got to be careful with the Zillion bombs. With the Baron debuff, you lose all that MR. If that Zillion can land some bombs, it could hurt, but they're going to say, we're just going to push mid, and they may go try to get this Dragon. They were pinging on it, but we'll see if they commit to it or not.
Yeah, they do have that option available for them. There were a lot of resources. We do see the Baron Empowered Recall coming out from Misfortune, so we'll be able to run over that way, and they're doing a little bit of a cheeky strat here. It'll be very scary. Here we go. Double bomb coming in. City Witty gets stopped. Nara's finding one for himself. Now it's going to be Lawrence, but he does not get to finish off the duck channel. It's Kenby now. He drops out in the box. He's trying to slow this fight on down. Command attacks over here onto the side, but here comes King Vets. He's coming in through the backside as Command attacks trying to have to bat this one on up. Beautiful, beautiful work. Kiting back this fight, but a flash forward from Lawrence is going to be able to get the knockup that they need.
Double shockwave.
Onto two over there, and it is still King Vets. The double bomb gets the kill onto him. They find themselves another one as Meech rejoins the fray, and now it's Basic Blonde looking to fly away. He's got a shotgun, and he's looking to use it. He's going to find himself another one, a double kill going out as Issue is critical, finds themselves an ace.
Yeah, not only the ace, but they took the Baron buff off of everybody, and that just started out with Neuraxis and Command Attack hiding in the bush. They're going to pick themselves up this Ocean Drake, but wow, that fight just kind of turned completely on its head with a couple of really good double bombs, just slowing everyone up, landing that big AoE damage. But Neuraxis getting that first pick onto City, he flashed out and still got smacked down by the Noxian Guillotine.
Yeah, it turns into a very interesting thing where you look at everything, Chrono Shift and all that other stuff being used, but we have a replay to break down everything that happened in there.
Yeah, so you see him just waiting in the bush, coming on in. Neuraxis just stacks up that passive so quickly. Double bomb stun. City gets blown on up. Lawrence goes in, gets the Darius passive, but Neuraxis did go down. But Command Attack is just sitting here, throwing out these double bombs, the candy, over and over again. Just putting out so much damage. But back live.
We got a big fight. It's another dunk of City winning. There's Kev now. He's in the middle of the fray. King is trying to keep himself A-OK. Bulleton's going to be able to come on out. Command Attack has to use the Chrono Shift onto himself. Now it's going to be able to find another one onto the backside. That's going to be Young. That's going to be taken on out. Now Lawrence is finding himself fighting Darius on the backside, but King Bats is going on down. The bombs are raining true, and Meech is laying down the pain. Double kill going over as Lawrence is going to find Lawrence. Another ace for Issue is critical.
Yeah, and Issue is critical, just coming up so clutch in these fights. They keep catching City Witty out. Yeah, we're going to have a replay of this fight. Watch City Witty here. He's just standing there. I believe Neuraxis is in vision. He doesn't care. He's going in, and, you know, he just gets deleted. Command Attack eats some crits from Vex, but after that, you watch this. The last chapter coming on out, and the bullet time looked pretty good, and then the Shockwave comes in, and you just look at this, and there's just nothing that Orgless can do once the fight gets turned around. Once that Zillion ult gets burned, they have a really hard time of getting these fights to come back their way. And now Neuraxis is just so big in the side lane as we're cutting back live. He's got Black Cleaver. He's got the Blade of the Ruin King. He's got Gargoyle Stoneplate now as well. So this Darius is going to be a major side lane thorn for Orgless right now.
Well, another thorn is going to be these double bombs combined with a Death Sentence. His Command Attack picking up another kill for his team. The Chrono Shift is going to be able to keep the Thresh alive. Basic Blonde is over there inside of the fight, inside of the Jungle Camp. Chrono Shift is not available, but Meech does not care. He is just laying it on in, laying out the damage. Basic Blonde in the backside, acting as a speed bump for him. That's a double kill, a triple kill, and Meech is on fire right now.
Yeah, those chakrams going crazy. There were so many chakrams coming out. Yuumi essentially got one shot. Once all those chakrams hit, Yuumi was done. Big old wave in the bottom. Shockwave just for wave clear. But I don't think it matters at this point. This inhibitor, probably the mid one too, probably going down.
Oh yes, absolutely. Right now they are looking to set up for the end game. Another inhibitor to be taken as their prize, and Issue is critical, playing so magnificently with everything, all the tools that are at their disposal.
Yeah, and we went from praising City Witty to him just going a bit too aggressive in these fights. We've seen him get caught out a few times, and it's leading to this point where all of a sudden you look at Meech and you look at Vex, and you know, Vex was really ahead. He was 7-0 at one point, and now Meech is 8-2 all of a sudden. And this Aphelios is a monster to deal with. And the gun control, making sure he has the correct guns for these situations is fantastic. I swear, every time we see a team fight, he's got just the circle of chakrams just going crazy around him.
Spinning them all around, making the head go round and round. The next fight could be a very pivotal one for them here as well. As you can actually see, an Elixir being picked up by the Darius. They got that iron going for him. And it very well could be two inhibitors taken out at this point in time. We got a Baron and Drake coming out at about the same time. This could be a very scary situation for the side of Orgless.
Yeah, and we're not at Soul Point yet either, which is very interesting. So, you know, the end of the game could be just one more team fight away for IIC, but, you know, we'll see how this plays out because, you know, Orgless still has the Shockwave. They still have the last chapter from Yuumi, and, you know, they still have the ornaments coming on out as we just have the Infinity Edge upgraded, it looks like.
Yeah, lots of damage coming out. Look at this. Kindred just taking so much damage there. City Witty just getting found over in the side and just takes a couple shotgun blasts, enough to make sure that he remembers, hey, you need to be very, very careful with your positioning here. Yes, he's been popped quite a few times from, I would say, overconfidence.
Yeah, he is building Death Dance, it looks like, so that's interesting, as Basic Blonde has one as well. Well, not interesting, it's very strong item right now. But starting up this Baron is IIC, and we'll see if Orgless even wants to attempt to do anything, because Lawrence has to clear the super minions, and Young has to clear so that way their third inhibitor tower doesn't go down, and this is pretty much free. But they did trade for a dragon, which will put Orgless on Ocean Soul points, and Ocean Soul could be the thing that secures these fights, as City Witty will get another stack for himself, which that is number 7. So second upgrade now for City Witty. We'll see if that makes a difference.
Yeah, definitely well played in terms of the minion waves. Making sure those minion waves are set up the way they needed to is an unsung hero for being able to make plays like that happen, making sure they're keeping an eye on the map to see when they need to move over. Now, going over to this top side, we're seeing that stat come up. Ornn is not with them. He's relegated to trying to clear some of these super minions down here on the bottom side. It's just put for a very, very scary scenario for Orgless.
Yeah, very much so. This Baron buff is going to be a big problem. If IIC doesn't get this third inhib, I will be very surprised.
Yeah, there's already one for themselves. Graves actually moving over into the mid lane to shove out the minion wave, make sure it's crashing into the base. You can see some of the pings saying, please, please, we got to stop this Graves. He's just a menace on society. As they're looking for a kill here. Call the Fortune is used over on the top side. Basic Bond is getting caught out by King Vets. He is getting chased and hunted down. And King Vets will find the Graves there for himself. But their base is getting torn to shambles off of this.
Yeah, inhibs.
Oh, Young gets connected with the Death Sentence. He does have a beautiful flash to get out of there. The bullet time not going to be able to connect onto anybody too major, as they are going to have the Darius inside the Lancer's fight, trying to get something going. A dunk coming in. A dunk for you and me. And King Vets now, he is still left alive.
Vex is crazy.
Where did Where did they go? Command attack is going to find himself in a bad spot. Is going to be able to run away with his life. But even though there's 3 members left, it still doesn't look like a convincing win for Orgless, as they're losing towers.
Yeah, one Nexus tower is gone. Vex is at 100% crit now, so doing so very much damage. And that's one in that fight. Command Attack got out with like 100 HP. He was that close to dying and it being a full ace. But they will clear out the minions, but having 3 inhibitors down, when you don't have someone that can actually win a side lane, the game gets really crazy to play. Their inhibitors will be respawning here very shortly, but Ocean Soul, I think, is Orgless's way to try and win this game. They just have to stall best they can, prevent their inhibitors from getting down, and try to get this Ocean Soul.
Yeah, the best thing about Drake is when you do have it on the same timing of Baron, especially when you're the one that's on Soul Point. If it's a good Soul, you can kind of turn around and be like, all right, yeah, you can have Baron again. We'll go for the Soul. They do have that option available for them. They have quite a few ways to go about it. Basic Blonde going to find himself caught, but not going to be caught too badly, as he just grabs the red buff for himself and says, City Witty, you could have had this, but it's mine now.
Yep, and we do have 3 ornament upgrades. We got Blade of the Rune King, or not Blade of the Rune King, Black Cleaver upgraded, Rabadons and Infinity Edge all upgraded for the side of Orgless. So, that's that extra gold infusion that Ornn brings to the table. So, in terms of items, gold lead, Orgless is technically ahead due to the Ornn items, but, they haven't been able to have the best team fights to really make use of it, aside from at their Nexus turrets when Vex killed just about everyone. So, we got about a little over a minute. So now is crunch time, where the vision gets put down, where IIC is looking for picks, looking for people to come wandering in to try to set up vision to try and find someone. But, Vex hurts. 100% crit misfortune is not something you want to mess with.
No. It is not anything to mess with, as with the amount of damage that comes down can make you in a terrible position, as we saw that Basic did have to feel from King Vets. As we are seeing the rotation here, they're trying to stop him from getting onto this inhibitor. Call the Forge Guard coming on through. Gets 2 onto it, but the knockup coming on through. They're laying out damage. The Moonlight Vigil has been used. The shutdown tech is gone. City Witty is in the middle of their enemy front line, and it's a double kill for Meech. They're looking for more. A triple kill, a quadra kill, a penta kill.
And that is exactly why they picked Aphelios right there, Travis. You look at how much he was able to do in that last team fight, completely untouched underneath that tower. The Lamb's Respite came down, and all that did was let him line up a fantastic Moonlight Vigil with the Infernum. It blew up, did so much AoE, and that was a pentakill, and that is game 1. And oh my goodness, Meech, what a fantastic performance in that end stage of the game. And even in the early game, he had those chakrams stacked up the whole time and just did so much damage throughout that entire game.
I mean, I said it when we were in draft, where I was just like, crazy thing to think about when a Aphelios goes all the way to pick phase 2.
Yeah.
And this is why I said that, was this reason right here with Meech. And I real quick, before we talk too much about Meech, I also want to highlight the unsung hero, which is definitely Command Attack. Zilean not the flashiest champion in the world, but is that unsung hero, given that speed boost to make it to where a champion like Aphelios is so strong. And honestly, just everybody from Issue is Critical played very well inside that first game.
Yeah, but you look at the damage output, the 80 carries in this game were the ones that really came out to play. Vex did 32,000, almost 33,000, and Meech was right there. Meech did just a hair under 32,000. So both these 80 carries having a field day. We knew that game was going to be spicy, and it looked like it was in Orgless's favor for a good portion of that game. And then it just kind of turned into City Witty just stepping just that little bit too far forward, jumping in to try and find these picks, playing like he had a bigger lead on the Kindred than he did, and ended up starting fights that they just couldn't finish. Meech was always ready with the chakrams ready to go, and just completely destroyed the team fights.
Yeah, and even if you look at like the goal difference and whatnot between mid, that's another big thing to take note of. These two, Command Attack really having a great showing here for himself as well. You actually touched on it really well with City Witty too. I think we found out what his favorite flavor of things is, and it's axe. Because he enjoys getting dunked apparently. Because there was a time where he just ran into a Darius inside a bush. They had full vision of him. And they was just leaped over the wall and said, I got this guy. And then immediately got just obliterated. Like all that was left on the ground was a blood spat. Like he was literally just a reason for Darius to get a passive instead of a team fight. That is disgusting. And I feel like Orgless, they're going to turn around, look back at themselves, and they got to kind of think, okay, we made some errors. They had some really good moments. The game was even for about 20 minutes of time. And
taking away nothing from them. City was just a little too aggressive. Lawrence did what you could do on Ornn in a really bad matchup, and Vex and Lutano did fantastic. Young hit a couple decent shockwaves. Wasn't fed to the point where they one-shot anyone, but they have things to work off of, and I don't think this necessarily means that this is going to be a quick 3-0. So it's going to be an exciting series.
It's definitely going to be very, very exciting. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take ourselves a short break, get ourselves ready for game 2. So be sure not to touch your browser, as we will be right back. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome on back to Upsurge. We're inside of UPL's lower bracket finals here, as we did see Issue is Critical be able to take the first game. My name is Travis. I'm joined here with Gus. And Gus, got a series on our hand that's looking very interesting just from that game one.
Yeah, the spicy picks came out game one. They did not disappoint. A Zillion going crazy. We had Kindred's going crazy. Darius is going crazy. Everyone is just going crazy. And we ended it with a pentakill. What more can you ask for?
I mean, 2 pentakills.
The double pentakill.
To end the game, let me get 2. Let me not
2
just get 1.
pentakills, the minions in the game. We'll
That's
save that for game 5.
Game 5, yes. Game 5, we roll around. We'll have a pentakill ace from both sides. A double pentakill, double ace to start the game. But
the level 1, God.
Yeah, the level 1 is just going to be both teams completely wiping each other. It'll be fantastic. I'm excited to see what kind of adaptations actually come here, because I think the strategy of not throwing any bans at City Witty, I think it was fine since they first took Graves, and he didn't look too hot on Kindred in game 1.
He had his opportunities to really do well on the Kindred, but then just kind of got a little overconfident, was willing to run into fights, running for marks. Like there was that Scuttle Crab that was a mark and ran into 3. When he ran into Neuraxis up near top lane, he went in a little too hard. If he played a little more reserved, probably would have had a better showing in that game. But for the bottom laners, both Vex and Meech had fantastic games. Obviously, Meech got the pentakill at the end of the game, but Vex was no slouch in that game either with the Misfortune. Really doing a ton of damage, getting the 100% crit and popping off.
I mean, it started off the game for the team getting a triple kill over on the top side of the map. It was the first real bit of action that we got to see, and it just continued. Like you were talking about, Vets is definitely a contender for it too. Actually, I believe Vets had the most damage in the game completely. So we'll see what the bans will change around to. And Orgless, they have first pick for themselves this time since they are on the blue side. So I'm going to be very curious to see if they still have the priority on either the Ornn or the Misfortune for themselves.
Yeah, banning out the Zillion, I think, it was a good call. The unsung hero of the game, really, landing so many stuns, doing a decent amount of damage with the double bombs coming out, but mainly just those stuns and the chrono shifts were fantastic. Banning out the Darius as well, which allows them to first pick Ornn if they want without that Darius looming on the other side of the lane, because Lawrence had a real hard time with that, especially once the Blade of the Rune King and the Kindle Gem was completed towards that Black Cleaver. And I see just keeping the same bans, Ezreal, LeBlanc, and Syndra.
Yeah, the only adaptation there, I believe, was the was that Varus actually there as Orgless banned Syndra last time, I believe. But the does say, hey, Varus is open on the table if you did want to grab it for yourselves. But the Ornn, like you're talking about, looking like something that Orgless might first pick, but instead we had another Graves first pick here.
Yeah. So it's something City Witty loves to play. So, Basic Blonde did a pretty all right job, but they get themselves set and Ornn. So, a lot of flexibility with these picks as Gangplank is locked in. So something that Lawrence actually played against last week, played the Lucian into the Gangplank against 100 Thieves next. So we'll see how he does playing the Gangplank, and Azir coming in, and that is quite a bit of late game with Gangplank and Azir already for Orgless.
Yeah, really and truly does leave their bot lane. No bot lane picks up for Orgless here, and it will be interesting to see what does Issue is Critical decide they want to pick up for their last pick here in the first pick phase for themselves here. Seeing a full top side of the map, and Aphelios getting grabbed. I can't blame him for it.
Yeah, I mean, Meech had a fantastic game. Obviously, the pentakill at the end, but mainly I was just amazed whenever the fight came in. Had the chakrams ready to go, got them stacked up in the fights, did so much damage even in the mid game with it. So, now Orgless knows what to expect coming out of Meech's Aphelios. So what will they answer with? They're already answering with some late game to counteract it, but Varus will be taken away from Orgless. And actually, Varus is getting nerfed tomorrow, getting some cooldown added onto his ultimate. So for today, Varus still has that same lower cooldown ultimate, but Yuumi going to be banned out here by Orgless, thinking they don't want to give the Yuumi Aphelios combo on over to IIC. Just imagine everything that Vex did with the Yuumi, but on the Aphelios instead. I think that's a good ban.
Yep, Aphelios, you can look at him. Just take one look at him. He has a pet cat already.
Imagine Severum with Yuumi.
Yeah, that's just
literally
like
sitting at full health the whole game.
Do not give the moody teenager a kitty cat to come onto the field of justice with, as he is not going to have that. Braum being taken away as well. We're seeing a lot of bot lane focus here with these bans, and now the option is, what does Issue is Critical want to grab for themselves here?
Yeah, they still have a lot of flexibility with Set and Ornn, because we've seen Set support, we've seen Ornn mid, we've seen Set jungle. Ornn jungle is the things people can do if they really want to, so those two picks have a ton of flexibility. But with the Lee Sin getting locked in, it looks like this is going to be either Set top or support, or Ornn top or mid. So that's what I'm banking on.
I'm thinking it's probably going to be a Set support.
I'm thinking Ornn
here.
mid. Well,
I'm thinking about Set support here. It could be Ornn mid, but
Set support is if you're into something that's a little ranged and harassy. It's real hard times. You just kind of have to go in and land a good face breaker or flash face breaker. That's about what you can do in the support into certain matchups. But Nautilus being locked in here does leave the possibility for Set to be played into that. That's something a little easier to manage as another melee support for Set. But I'm not sure if they want to really pick the Kais. That's an awful lot of scaling on the side of Orgless here. So if they end up falling behind early on, it could spell bad things for them.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure if I like it, just like you. And Issue is Critical, they have their options for what they want to grab for themselves now.
Speaking of scaling,
let's get it. Let's drop down the Baby Rage cage. Let's see if it's actually going to be locked on in. This is actually a very terrifying pick into the composition of Orgless, and it is locked in.
So that means it will most likely be Set support unless they want to get spicy and play Ornn support.
I mean, they could.
Ornn support was a thing for a while. I remember it being played.
Yeah. It definitely has had its moment, but I think a lot of people value the solo lane Ornn now a little bit more. But hey, I like this. Look, I called it Big Brain Travy, calling the Set support. But the Vigar over here inside the mid lane, I'm really excited for this. I think Issue is Critical had a good time answering the draft. Orgless, I have an issue, and it's what you said earlier. There's so much scaling on this composition.
Yeah, I mean, Graves is decent enough early mid game. Like he'll be fine. The Nautilus can make plays happen along with the Graves, so those two go roaming. They can make things happen early on. But after that, like Gangplank's decent in lane early on, not the greatest. Does have the ability to do a lot. Azir can bully some matchups early, and including Veigar, you can probably bully out with your Q and getting an auto or two off after you Q them. So it's not like Orgless can't do anything early game. It's just if they end up falling behind, they're going to have a really hard time converting their scaling. So we'll see exactly what the junglers decide to do, because if you look on the side of IIC, they have about as early game of a jungler as you can look for.
Yeah. Yes. Lee Sin, he is a jungler that is straight up, let me throw a kick your way, and either my mind's telling me no, my body's telling me yes, kind of champion. it's going to be very interesting to see how he's going to be able to play on the Lee Sin. Because in the last game on the Graves, I wouldn't say he was super impactful. I know we took a lot of time talking about City Witty, but he wasn't the main star on the Graves, and he didn't really do a lot early game. So I'm going to be very curious watching the Lee Sin and seeing how he plays this champion and how it will differ from the Graves that we saw.
Yeah, and I think the thing for the Lee is going to be figuring out what lane wants to play around. Because oriented Gangplank, there's potential for ganks to happen there. Obviously, when you have the Vagar cage, you can pretty much set anything up because you're going to force his ears flash if you show up when he's in the baby cage. Because, you know, Vagar's E stops dashes and all that lovely stuff that it does. So,
yeah,
not a whole lot of ways out of that. And then bottom, you know, Set can have some gank setup, but it's nothing crazy until level 6 when you have the Showstopper and you're able to pull people back in. So, but that would be a nasty combo if you Showstopper someone back towards your turret and then you Lee Sin kick them under the turret. That'd be pretty nasty.
It reminds me of the early days when it used to be you would go for the field goal with the Alistair Blitzcrank. You would pull him in, and then the Alistair would knock him and throw him back into the tower. That was some wacky stuff back in the early days of League of Legends.
Tomkench Callista is another one too.
Yeah,
like,
that's another one.
Eats someone and then gets pulled in with Fate's Call and gets thrown under tower. That's another one. But
I always appreciate the inventive ways that people find ways to displace somebody into like completely foreign territory they have no business in being. Let's kick them into. I remember, like I said, back in the early days, the whole idea between it was just like, how many turrets can we get this person pulled into? Could be for some nastiness, but
the one for all Blitzcrank conga line.
Yeah, oh, dude, I love those days. I love those days. Those are the days that I'm alive for. But I am going to be very much so alive to see how this game plays on out here. Does have quite a good amount of beefiness here on each side. More so favoring Issue is critical. They do have some critically beefy boys.
Yeah, just a little bit. You know, Set and Orn. They're pretty good as far as beefcakes go.
Yeah.
You know, and the Set gets to do true damage based on how much beef he has, so that's pretty cool.
Gets a nice little shield. We'll stay alive.
It's kind of like Cho'Gath. If Cho'Gath were released today.
Yeah, if Cho'Gath was released today. Oh, that's a scary thought to think about.
I mean, Cho'Gath would be actually frightening the way Fiddlesticks is. Let's be real here. That would be pretty cool.
He'd be like a Loch Ness monster. It would be just the Fields of Justice would move as he moved. It would be. I'd be down for that. I'm just scared of how OP his abilities would be. But I mean, I'm down for it. Seeing how these drafts are coming out, the scaling that's coming out from Orgless, right? I do like the fact that like I said, the Vigor that goes into it. They do have options into it, which I do like. Gameplay like Azir don't really have to get right up in your face to do what they want to do. The triple barrels and the soldiers are going to be very important. So we'll have to keep that out from Orgless as they start setting up in these mid-game fights, especially around neutral objectives.
Yeah, and that's where I think IIC's comp is going to shine around the neutral objectives because you have so much zone control. You have Ornn and Vagar that can throw out the Call to Forge God and the Event Horizon and just like make you not able to walk somewhere. Aphelios has his turrets as well that he can put down. We saw Young walk through one and get absolutely destroyed in game 1. And then they're Set. You know, you can't get too close to Set, especially if you're Nautilus, because he's going to throw you into your team. And it's going to do a lot of damage. It's going to hurt. So I think that's IIC's game plan here is group up for these objectives and force Orgless to try and find a way to fight through this crazy CC-bound team comp that they have set up for themselves.
I 100% agree because it can be a very scary sight. I love the fact that you touched on Set throwing the Nautilus inside of the opposing team, hitting them with a gut-wrenching amount of damage for sure. And that could be a nasty combo to think about, him getting in there, going in for the face breaker, really tacking it on. This is with the Azir gameplay. They do have that going for themselves. I am still very curious of the Kai'Sa. Kai'Sa works really well with Nautilus, but it's going to be hard for Kaisa to get in and do her thing, I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, Kaisa can do things about a 3-item spike is where she starts feeling pretty all right. 4 items is definitely ideal on Kaisa as well as Azir. And then, Gangplank just wants level 13 for the crazy barrels, and whatever items you can scrounge up before then is awesome. You get your Trinity Force and your Essence Reaver. And Infinity Edge if you're doing really well and start landing those crit barrels. And, it's not like Orgless has no way to win. It's just they got to be on point for this team comp to function correctly.
Well, if you're talking about being on point, let me tell you, Gus, I have a thing for you. And that includes you over at home, at work, wherever you may be watching Upsurge tonight. That's right, I'm talking about Kono, baby, or the #1 keyboard to make sure that you'll be able to pick up those W's as fresh, as easy as can be. Be sure to check them out. We definitely want to give a thanks out to Kono for being able to sponsor us here over at Upsurge. They are fantastic. Their keyboards go click-clack, and you'll be able to make it to where you'll be able to do the damage you need to do. Doesn't matter if you're playing League of Legends, if you're playing Valorant, if you found your way into the beta, you can click heads even easier as long as you go over to kono.store. That's right, that is KONO.store for you to be able to pick up the finest in mechanized keyboards that you'll ever be able to find. They are phenomenal. I cannot recommend them enough. That being said, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to give you a short little period of time to go to KONO.store and be able to pick yourself up the freshest gear so that way you can pick up W's today. We'll see you guys on the Rift. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome on back to UPL. We're in the lower bracket finals here, as it is Issue is Critical taking on Orgless. Issue is Critical currently 1 game up inside the set here on this travesty. I am joined here with Gus. And Gus, before I can even let you talk, there is an Omni Stone set inside of the game.
Yeah, and that's something a lot of support sets have been taken is the Omni Stone. Just, a little bit of everything is the spice of life, but we got ourselves in an invade coming in with Latano on the Nautilus.
Yeah, it's a small boy invade. It's not your standard 5-man invade.
Uh-oh.
This is Dunna,
Ken.
Dunna. Doesn't even need to go for a dredge line. Flashes over. City Witty is going to be able to get over there, but doesn't have another shotgun blast. Beautiful flash coming on in there. And, they could have followed that up if they wanted to. I feel like that could have
Graves
been
was the only one with a dash at level 1, so
He could have
didn't
flashed
to
over.
burn a whole lot. And
Nautilus
Graves,
has to commit.
you start your dash on Graves anyway, so it's all good. Nothing lost there.
Yeah, it's nothing lost. Omni Flash for the set here, so we'll see some possible trickiness out of that. But here we go, going into the laning phases, and I feel like we don't have as much of a crazy lanes, at least in the solo lanes at the very least.
Yeah, I mean, mid lane is just kind of play dodge the event horizon. Like, that's what that comes down to. Top lane is dodge Ornn when he goes in for a knockup so you don't get ganked. Yeah. And everyone just wants to farm as much as they can.
Yeah, well, Ken jumping in, laying out some damage. Has Dark Harvest to start off with.
Yeah, probably not the most ideal one.
And I believe we're having some technical difficulties on stream at the moment. It will be fixed here very shortly. As, Lee Sin getting jumped onto. Basic is going to have to flash over the wall there. Did get that cheeky steal for themselves, but is going to be a bit of a catch that could have came out there. Could have been really bad. I believe actually that was just City Witty just following Lee Sin. Just relentless.
When you start the blue buff, the opposing jungler, when you go for that vertical jungling, is either going to start on that buff or on their other buff and come down to try to take the buff that you stole, so that way they get a blue buff as well. So it's just simple deduction there, really. Just, he's probably going to be here, come help me, and they got a flash out of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, got a flash out of it. Lawrence catching those hands, though. Norris is definitely playing this Ornn like his name is Darius Steele. Somebody let this man know what champion he's playing, because he's still laying out so much damage. Omni Flash coming in from the set. Facebreaker whiffing is going to lay out a haymaker, but not going to be able to do anything else but that lethal tempo. That one caught me off guard for a moment there as he backs that up.
Now, one thing I do like about this set support setup is has the Hex Flash, but also took Nimbus Cloak. So anytime you Hex Flash, you get that Nimbus Cloak speed boost. So gets to run on in there and try to land as many face breakers as he can. And that's what the lane phase is going to be down here, is him hiding in a bush, Hex Flashing on out, seeing if he can catch anyone with the Nimbus Cloak.
And it's also hard to kill him when he does that because of the way the shield.
Speaking of kills,
Lawrence is gone. He got drooled on by Leon, and it's a very, very scary thing to be in.
Yeah, and that's the thing with Gangplank, is he's all right in laning phase. He's all right, but it was really good laning phase. Ornn, as long as he's not against a Darius or something.
Ken looking for something possible here. Does get the face breaker, does connect that onto him. Does have Lee Sin over here onto the side. Flash to come out from Vets, not wanting to take that true damage from that face breaker, but Basic is going right back in. He's searching for blood here. He's going to be in a tricky spot, though. The Ignite ticking away, and that could be Ken that is going to possibly go down. No haymaker around, and Ken gets baited by his jungler there.
Yeah, when you're this early of a level on set, your haymaker is on a really long cooldown. So wasn't quite back up just yet, even though the grit was fully stacked. So Vex getting a kill is fantastic for Orgless, because you accelerate that Kai'Sa, get her going. She's already got Berserker Greaves, so well on the way there. A lot of attack speed towards that E evolution, and I would have to imagine that this would probably be an Essence Reaver Kai'Sa, since you didn't buy the tier or the pickaxe for the Muramana or the Manamune just yet. We'll see. I've seen some people buy the Manamune late and just kind of deal with it, but we'll see exactly what kind of Kai'Sa build this ends up for, because you can go either the magic damage or physical damage one, because the team is actually pretty well rounded in terms of damage composition.
I also love the Berserker Greed spot, just because I think movement speed is very important for this lane. Like
sets on the roam
about earlier. but sets on the roam. He has Predator right now as his keystone. Wasn't able to use it just there, but oh, did he? No, he did get to use it just there, but
Yep.
It's
Gotta love
just-
Omni Stone.
love Omnistone as we're seeing the Graves Nautilus like you were talking about. They're pairing together right now. City Witty is going to see Ken. Young
Oh,
is
here,
on the
the
side. Emperor's Divide. Not going to be able to connect with anybody there. Is going to have a TP coming in from the Orn. They're looking to jump onto him. They're going to jump on in the Event Horizon. The Baby Rage Cage. They're stuck in it. The Haymaker. Basic Blonde's going to be able to pick up the kill onto Young, while Lawrence gets the artillery to take out Nartz as Lutuna has to flash over that wall, get on out of harm's way. Didn't want to deal with any of that. Basic is going to find King Vet.
Oh.
I don't believe he wanted that. He's going to make a very extravagant exit there as they start up the Drake for themselves.
Yeah, and that's just Lee Sin, right? Like, that's just what Lee Sin does. Has so much mobility. When the jungle camps are up, you pretty much aren't allowed to fight Lee Sin unless Lee Sin wants to fight you. He just can go anywhere and do anything. The ranged, melee, DPS, mage, whatever Freak called him back in 2011.
Well, right now we're in 2020, and it is going to be Kev that gets focused on down. Haymaker is going to be able to lay out the damage, so he won't go down. Ludatono does not have flash. Is going to get jumped onto.
Oh, the chakrams!
Is going to have the kill. The chakrams are coming out, but not able to get one more chakram in there. And it is going to be King Vets being able to get away with their life, but this is going to be quite a good bit of tower plating to go down.
Yeah, and that's the only Cloud Drake, the Cloud Drake that they did get, so they will be the benefactors of that extra ultimate CDR, whereas Orgless is unable to accomplish that. There's no more Cloud Drakes left in the game.
Yeah, and
Well, I don't know, Graves pushed the Felios turrets. That was kind of funny looking.
yeah, that was a little bit weird.
Oh!
Here we go. Basic going in for the kill. He is going to flash on out of there, and now again is looking to possibly follow up with his team.
Hex
Is going to do the Hex Flash. Is looking for more. The Ignite coming on through. Is going to face breaker him. His ears in the backside. Young's going to be able to pick up a kill of his own. It's going to be a trade for 1 for 2 there, as it is going to be issue is critical. Being very aggressive with that. Actually grabbed 2 kills for themselves since they did grab that. So a 2 for 2 trade.
Yeah, and Ken got the double Nimbus Cloak. Procced one off the Hex Flash, procced the other off the Ignite, ran past the Nautilus hook. Got himself a kill.
Yeah, he's a speedy boy. All right, he is fast AF. Not going to be able to catch him. He's got places to be. Got to follow his rainbow. But this game now another Hex Flash. Lunatono looking for someone on the command attack. Is going to go into the Fog of War. Is going to lay out the Baby Rage Cage. And Lunatono has got nothing but to do but rage inside the cage.
Yeah, no Nimbus Cloak for Lutano, so a little slow coming out of the Hex Flash compared to Ken V2. And gave command attack an AP for walking into the cage.
Yeah, he's like, thank you for the stat. There's some phenomenal evil building up inside a command attack.
Yeah, but we're getting close to the time where the Rift Herald is going to spawn, as you see prep work being done on the top side.
Yeah, and you see it.
Leeson
Basic's
in there.
already over there.
Leeson's in there, yep,
Yeah,
doing it.
Great.
And
Great
they're collapsing on in here.
Yeah, Gameplank is following the Orn. They're trying to decide on if they're going for it or if they're not. Lawrence is over here trying to keep him on off. Call of the Forge God is available. Yeah, I think the CC is definitely in favor of them. Orange still fighting away Lawrence over here in the top side. They're looking for the possible kill here as they are going to be able to find a 2-man Event Horizon on City Witty. City Witty in a terrible situation. Kev is here as well. And City Witty trying to get out of harm's way, but he is going to get kicked and he's going to go down as Basic grabs another kill for himself. And this leads in 4-1-1 is looking great, but issue is Critical is doing a phenomenal job of collapsing whenever City Witty goes for anything aggressive onto the Lee Sin.
Yeah, and it's just like last game. Whenever City Witty goes aggressive, IIC is able to collapse on it and turn it around. And, you know, this is exactly what IIC needs. They need to get ahead early on and make sure they have an advantage before the skilling comes in. But
Lawrence looking for a possible solo kill is going to get the slow onto him, and Basis there to grab him on the side. He said, thank you for the Orange Horn earlier. This is how I'll pay you back.
Yep, and they're going to be able to shove on in, throw down the Rift Herald, get some plates. There's 3 plates left, so they're probably actually going to commit and get this full tower with this wave coming in behind it.
Yeah, nobody's up there towards topside to even try and mess with the Ornn that's low HP, low mana. So it's just going to get walked in there. It's going to grab that. That is a tower. Secure top lane. Depth charge is going to be used into the bot side. Meat just going to find himself getting CC'd. Here we go. They're looking for the show match sniper to go over onto Lutano. Laying out a ton of damage. King Vets is still over here on the side, virtually untouched, but they're going to change that around. Killer Instinct used to dodge the Moonlight Vigil, and King Vets just styled on Meech.
Yeah, Meech got just, he's not Kaisa, doesn't get that little dash, just got to throw out the moon, and moon's pretty big, but every once in a while the moon can miss. So, Vex having a pretty good early game, 2-1-2 on this Kaisa. So, getting closer towards that scaling, and every kill Kaisa gets, it just infuses her with that extra gold that she needs to get to these item breakpoints. So Vex having a fantastic early game so far.
There is still the issue of how do you introduce Vets into some of these fights as we get into the later parts of the game, because she is a short-range AD carry. We are seeing the Mana Moon actually completed here, so that is going to be the build of choice. Command Attack in a very scary situation. Flash forward. They're looking for it. Event Horizon's going to be able to tag the Azir, and a Primordial Burst comes on through. They're continuing the action. Kent's going to have a lot of damage going on to him. Lays out the Haymaker, trying to get the shield for himself. Collateral damage coming through just a little bit too early as Vets is over here in the area. Did tag somebody there. Command Attack does need to be careful with how they do this. That's going to be their artillery coming out from the top side of the map. King Vets is going to be able to pick up the kill onto Ken as City Woody gets kicked out of the pit, and he's going to go on down. A killing spree for him. They turn their attention over to
Watch Vex. Vex is stuck.
They're getting all these kills. A triple kill for the Lee Sin, and now Vets, he is stuck inside of the Baby Rage cage. He picks up a kill for his troubles, but still goes down the Command Attack. And what the hell is happening over in the Dragon Pit?
Lee Sin killing everyone is apparently what's going on. Gets the second Drake. We will have an Infernal Soul, so lots of damage to come out. And we got ourselves an 8-1-2 Lee Sin at this point in the game. That's the early game power you were looking for out of this pick. The only downside is when your Lee Sin is the one on your team that has all the gold, you can starve your teammates out a little bit. And they do have scalers on their team as well, the Vhagar and the Aphelios. So trying to spread the gold out from this point on is going to be the optimal way for IIC to continue this this Lee Sin clinic here, because Lee Sin is very strong but does not scale particularly well. So you want to be able to get gold on your scalers.
Yeah, and it does come back to another thing. Looking at how that fight played on out, yet again, it was a fight about neutral objectives. It's something that you and me were talking about, is how scary could it possibly be if you're Orgless running into a neutral objective when there's the Call of the Forge God, the Event Horizon, set.
You saw Young get blown up by those actual 2 abilities. He got tagged up by the first part of Call of the Forge God, got stuck in the Event Horizon, and got blown up by the second part of it, as well as the Primordial Burst. Yeah. So you got to be super careful if you're Orgless going into these neutral objectives. If you do not see Vhagar on the other side of the map, like split pushing in a side lane, you got to be really careful around these neutral objectives, because there's just too much zone control out of IIC.
That started with a catch, too. That's the insane thing. And that Lawrence, he's found himself getting dove by Narcissus. He's laying out the damage. Basic is here in the area and is going to get that kill. He's dominating. Lawrence is like, I got this, guys. I got the solo kill. He's going down. Denied. Basic is there in the area.
Yeah, I mean, Lawrence does have his Trinity Force, so, doing his part to scale up. But, man, when you have a Lee Sin that's just running all over the map and doing everything everywhere, this is one of those solo queue games where it's 15 minutes now. Someone throws up a surrender vote at 15 minutes in a solo queue game. It's not going to happen in this game. Competitive's a whole different beast, but this is one of those solo queue games where you're just like, man, this is rough. This is
Somebody
a rough
types
one.
in all, the person who sent up the surrender vote types in all chat, GG, jungler too fed.
Hit him with the jungler.
It's usually either your jungler or it's somebody on the other side of the map. And you're just like, you don't know what I've had to deal with over here in the top lane, okay?
Yeah, top lane's a whole nother beast. There's
When you're a champion like Gangplank, it's definitely another beast. It becomes a hard knock life, that is for sure. But it's still scaling like you were talking about. This composition is full of scaling for themselves. However, there is a almost 4K differential between these two teams at this point in time.
Yeah, looking at the actual gold lead, about 3,000 of it is just on to Basic Blonde. So outside of the Lee Sin, it's actually a pretty even game in terms of gold. And that's the thing, like I was talking about. When Lee Sin has all your gold, you kind of have to make sure that you don't get too crazy just because your Lee Sin is fed. Lee Sin has a hard time killing multiple people. He can kill one person really easily. It's just the team fighting as a Lee Sin when you have all your team's gold. You want to make sure that you're able to put out enough damage to make it worth it because you are your team's gold lead.
And oh, we do have a pause coming through here. Looks like there was a wee bit of lag coming out from one of the people over in Orgless. We will be getting back into the game here very, very shortly. Lots of swords being bought, by the way. I just happened to look down at the items, and I'm just like, wow, that's a lot of swords. You got 3 swords in Graves, 2 swords on Gangplank, all these champions.
I mean, Kaisa has swords. Daggers are swords, right?
Yeah, daggers are swords too. Yeah, I guess daggers are swords. We'll clarify that for people.
Yeah, so looking in here, Vhagar actually has about 120 bonus AP from his passive right now. So he's doing pretty good for himself in terms of the phenomenal evil department. So has the 2 glacial items completed.
Yeah, and as you can see, when you're back into everything and seeing as what they'll be able to grab for themselves, the advantage of having a Lee Sin that is as strong is neutral objectives are really yours to grab, and you can see actually the vision coming out is phenomenal for them because they have so much pressure through the Lee Sin. They have a good spread of control wards actually all around the map.
Yeah, but if you are Orgless, you have to put all your eggs into the Vex basket once again because he's got 4 kills on Kaisa at 17 minutes. That's a really strong Kaisa for this point in the game. But Young,
command attack, beautiful flash is going to be Young flashing over the event horizon. He's going to find himself getting caught out by the primordial burst. Killer Instinct going to be able to come on in. They're going to be able to get a 2-man knockout.
Oh, Vex dodge knockout.
Able to get knocked up. Basic Blonde is going to get him with the Dragon Rage into the gut wrench. What the hell is that?
We call that the alley-oop because he was getting ping-ponged all over the place. Vex went in and was super threatening, but
Lawrence is getting caught now.
More.
He's going to get him. He's going to be able to lay out a haymaker onto him. Not a ton of damage to come out of that. Herald has been summoned in the mid lane, but alley-oop indeed, man. He just scooped him on up out of the air and just slammed him on the ground.
Man, that was something crazy. Ooh, Lawrence got the eye.
Yeah, got the eye there. So good for him. King Vets is going to find out this Ornn here. He's going unstoppable, knocking him up. The heal has been used. No Killer Instinct is available. He's going to try and flash away from King Vets, but he has
Vex
that
has flash.
He's going to not chase any further for it though, because they don't have vision in that part of the map. They don't know who's there. Oh, wait, here we go. Gets the Dragon Rage kick. Lawrence is in a terrible spot. Again, you can flash, but you can't escape Basic Blonde. He's going for style points. Mom, get the camera. He's going for trick shots. It's the call of the Forge guy going to whip. Bad hands, bad hands. Norris is going to find himself getting caught out yet again. You went back in for this, and Vex will surely punish you.
Yeah, Vex with 5 kills now. We do have a replay for us here of this.
I don't know if we have
time for the replay. Look at this.
This dude squatted up in the top lane. Vex, he's trying to back. He is looking for something, but it's just going to be basic. He's got some time. He's going to emote a little bit. Kev's over here in the area. He's trying to give an assist. Okay, there you go. You get your gold. Shut down for basic.
Yeah, and Vex was just up there, trying to get the tower, but Basic Blonde able to, do these in things, be very mobile, get on up there real quick. Young is really going for this.
Here. He's looking for this 1v1. He's got his soldiers available with him. It's going to be nice. You can't push him away. He's unstoppable. He will drool right through every single one of your soldiers.
Oh man, I
And
feel
Narcissus
bad
is not
for
done
Young.
just yet. He's gone nearsighted. It doesn't matter though. He's looking for something possibly, but he's gonna find himself getting caught in a bad spot. He's gonna go ahead and use the Bellows Breath to get himself out of a tricky spot there, keep him from getting CC for too long. Event Horizon there to be able to back him on up. As Orin is going to find the safety of his team. Now it's going to be Ken. He's coming over here into the area. He has Comet as his ability. Depth Charge going to be able to connect, going to be able to get a two-man knockup, but it is not going to be enough. Lunatano, it's going to go down, and Lutano is out of there.
Yeah, and now Vagar has 167 ability power with the passive. So stacking up very nicely. Has two needlessly large rods towards the Rabadons. So, you know, spreading out the gold a little bit, even though Basic Blonde keeps getting kills. You know, the rest of IIC is actually able to pick up some gold. So that's fantastic for them. If you're Orgless, like, I feel bad for Young. He's going in, he's trying to make the plays happen on the Azir as Basic Blonde is like, hey guys, watch me solo Baron with my Death Stance. Oh, there's Command Attack. Okay.
Yeah, Command Attack's there in the area. He's there.
But Young has tried to Azir sex so many times, but we do have a replay coming in now. We're going to watch Lawrence here get absolutely mollywopped, I believe. So you watch him just get kicked in. Aphelios gets it, but we're going back to life. We got a Baron
there's
play.
more action going on. Call the Forge guy coming on in. Young's going to find himself getting knocked on up. That's going to be the showstopper going in onto the Nautilus. He is going to beat the sacrificial lamb, but it's not just him. City Witty will surely join you. Young almost loses all of his HP. He will here soon, but shortly he gets out with his soldiers. And Orgless have to run away here. King Vet's almost getting caught out by Basic. Basic is still relentless on his pursuit. There is a barrel there. He's looking for something, possibly the kit to come on in. Gets him away from the Facebreaker shutdown. Going over to the Azir. Now they're looking for a knockup. Not going to be able to get it onto Vet. Meech is going to be able to go onto Young with the flamethrower. Spitting out hot fire. Artillery coming in to slow everything on down. Meech is still looking to press on forward. While Vygar and Set are just pushing in through the mid lane. Vet and Lawrence, they are finding themselves so freaking inconvenienced right now. Knockup going to be able to connect onto Vets as Nush going to try and back it on up. Nautilus is here. Depth Charge going to be able to connect onto the backside. Going to be able to get the kill onto Meech here. And they are going to be able to get it around 2 kills going over to Orgless as they just stayed for too damn long.
Yeah, I see being a bit cocky. You saw Basic Blonde just going in, he's having fun, styling on Lee Sin with 14 kills, trying to do everything. But, you know, when you're in your opponent's base and they're all coming back, you got to be a little more conservative than that sometimes. Just went in a little too hard. Died to Death Stance, I believe, because Azir hit him on the way out. The Leandri's bird and the Death Stance actually ticked him down, it looked like.
They're finding the catch onto the Vygar here. Command Attack's in a bad spot though, but is he really? Basic's going to be able to find a kick onto Vet's, going to be able to lay out a lot of damage onto him. City Witty draw that so very low. Nautilus is going to be able to jump onto Kev here. He's not going to be able to get anybody with the Haymaker. It's going to be King Vet's going to be able to pick up a kill for himself. Event Horizon going to be able to connect. Young not going to get stunned up. He's got 4 soldiers at his disposal. Now at 3, looking to summon it on around and go ahead and grab themselves a Drake for their troubles. Basic going to have to jump out of harm's way. He has to scuttle to keep him safe. And everybody else is going to have to dash over the wall and find their way on out.
Yeah, Basic trying to predict Graves dashing over the wall there a little bit with that Q, throwing it just a little bit up. But Nautilus
looking for a catch possibly onto Basic. Basic playing very up in their face, stopping all the recall timers. He knows that he can kill anybody that he finds one-on-one. I don't think he wants to find anybody 4-on-1.
Yeah, and, you know, Vex is just getting stronger and stronger as these fights keep happening. 7 kills now on the Kaisa, 2 completed items with the Muramana stacking up. Currently, it is at 685 stacks. That will be done in just a few minutes. Has more daggers as well with the Gwynsu's Rageblade, but also more daggers, probably going for that Gnasher's Tooth. And, you know, this Kaisa is just getting to be stronger and stronger and will become more and more of an issue if left unchecked. If Basic Blonde keeps trying to go in and do these fancy highlight reel plays.
Empress Divide just got used very defensively right there. Predator.
Yeah, I was trying to push Ken back in, but Ken turned around at the perfectly right moment. But here's Call the Forge God.
Yeah, they're looking for something. They're going to be able to get the catch onto Young there, laying out some damage onto him. Not going to be anything else on there as Gameplank uses his ultimate as well to use as some wave clear. And It's just going to be a staring contest between these two teams over here in the mid lane.
Yeah, they have wave clear of their own. You know, they have Azir, they have Cannon Barrage, they have Graves, Kai'Sa. They all can somewhat clear waves pretty effectively. And anytime that Cannon Barrage is up, you know, you gotta trudge on through it. It's just kind of annoying, you know. It doesn't really do that much damage unless you get hit by the Death's Daughter part. But you just get slowed up and a little bit of damage here and there, and you're like, man, why can't this Gangplank just leave us alone?
You're traveling through the muck at that point in time. It's just that nothing feels good. You got mud on your shoes. It's terrible. It's terrible. And every now and then, like you said, you might trip inside the swamp, the muck, snap your ankle. Very terrible time in the kingdom. As the game 25 minutes in, and gold lead in kills. Right, and Drake's all favoring. Issue is critical with Orgless right now. What would you say would be a key thing for them at this point in time? Did they just continue playing it the way they are with this scaling Kai'Sa, or do they need to look for something here in the near future?
Well, they got themselves that dragon, so that bought them time at Soul Point for, you know, this next extra bit of time before the next dragon spawns. And they've made okay use of it, you know. Vex is pretty strong. EA is actually ahead of Aphelios in gold, is actually ahead of Veigar in gold as well. So, you know, Vex is not someone to be trifled with. Has the Nashor's Tooth complete now, so it's on the 3-item Kai'Sa power spike. So is very strong for himself here. And Azir also has Leandri's in the Nashor's Tooth, so will be doing a bit of damage. Has a needlessly large rod. Veigar, however, does have the Rabadon's, which has been upgraded into the Rabadon's Death Crown. And currently is sitting at 778 AP. So that is a very strong Veigar. And you got to be careful.
Hey, careful indeed, because this Veigar, with that loads amount of AP, will absolutely annihilate somebody. And when you're talking about your eggs being in the basket of scaling, whoever's the strongest person at scaling, if they get caught, they make one bad footstep, one bad movement, and they get caught by the event horizon or tagged by this glacial augment, you could see this Kai'Sa get obliterated. You could see the Azir get obliterated.
I think a QR from Command Attack would actually just one-shot Vex.
I think so, yeah.
Or even if you get hit by a W and a Q, you probably die to that too.
Yeah, the glacial augment there means that if you get tagged by any of the slow, the CCs that could possibly come out, you're going to be in a bad spot. And with Vet's looking like the strongest member, I bet you he's looking pretty freaking juicy. Baron is now up. And this could be a do or die time, actually, for Orgless.
Yeah, and you've got Soul Point with the Infernal Soul up in about 40 seconds. So we'll see what choices are made here because, you know, Soul over Baron is a choice that a lot of teams make. A lot of teams really value the Ocean Soul more than Baron because the Ocean Soul is or the Dragon Soul is permanent. You know, once you get that Infernal Soul, you always have that extra little burst. And imagine that on a Veigar. Like, not only does his AP get amplified more by the Infernal Drakes themselves, having that extra little burst means you die that much quicker.
And you can see a little bit of a spread coming out here. Triple Barrel going to be utilized. Lawrence trying to get some damage of his own. Call to Forge God is going to be coming over here onto the side. Event Horizon's going to be used. Going to be able to get the stun onto Lawrence. Lawrence is almost dead.
Oh!
He's going to find the Lee Sin going into the bat side, but it's going to be everybody getting obliterated. Vets is left almost untouched so far. He has the Event Horizon, but Command Attack has the Primordial Burst, not able to connect with everything that he needed there. And Basic is on the hunt with Ken. He's looking for it, doesn't get the connecting Q to get the kill, as it is just City Witty over here at the Drake, looking for something possibly. He does get the Drake, so it's not going to be a soul, but he will have to give up his life for it, as Basic will take that kill.
But critically, Vex picked up some more kills, and they bought 5 more minutes of farming time by getting that Drake before the next Drake comes up. So now Baron Dance is likely going to happen, but we have a bit of a replay of how that fight shaped out here as we look down by this pixel brush. Lawrence landed a barrel chain onto Ken, did a bit of damage, and they tried to pull off the Call of Forge God Event Horizon combo, but the second part of the Call of Forge God actually didn't come out, and I think that was a pretty big thing to happen. As look at Vex and everyone just blowing up Meech, just doing so much damage. And the Primordial Burst left Vex with like 150 HP. But going back to live, as if we want to watch Basic 1, miss that Q one more time. Baron is picked up for IIC, and now now they're looking towards the Soul, see if they can't pick up a fight and try to end the game off of a push with this Baron. But Vex is really, really strong and has a Banshee's Veil now as well, so it has that extra added safety.
Yeah, I was about to say, has that extra layer of safety, which is going to be very pivotal. Big thing, I think Command Attack actually missed an ability there too when you saw the Primordial Burst go in, and he just missed one ability because of the Killer Instinct, and that's a scary thing with Kai'Sa. Kai'Sa uses that Killer Instinct, very mobile AD carry. My thing is, we saw Meech is not having a fun time inside of this game.
No,
he is getting blown up consistently.
He got an Inferno ult off that did a little bit of damage, but ended up dying as well. But with this Baron Siege now, there's really no way for them to break this siege, because if they try to run up, Veigar can just throw down the Event Horizon. So, if they really want to commit hard to a siege, they have the tools to do it.
Mm-hmm. It's just the wave clear and whatnot that's over here in the mid lane. They don't have any waves pushing in the side lanes either, so they can't do any trickery with that if they wanted to. They are just hard forcing it into the mid side.
Yep, and this tower will go down, likely the inhibitor afterwards. We'll see if Orgless wants to try and fight for this, but they don't really have a way to engage outside of Nautilus or Nazir Sec. And that's pretty dangerous to throw that right on in, throw the Azir on into the middle of everyone, and then Hip goes down without a fight.
Yeah, that's a very scary thing to do, because that can cost your team the fight, especially at this stage of the game. He does not have a Banshees like the Kai'Sa, so there is not that layer of safety.
True.
No Banshees currently on the Kai'Sa, as it is on cooldown. Did get tapped a little bit there. I feel like that is definitely going to be a goal we are going to see coming out from this team. They don't want that Banshee Veils being on this Kai'Sa at the start of any fight.
Yeah, and they have a lot of different ways that they can pop it. The first part are called the Forge God. Sure, you miss out on the extra Brittle proc, but to get the Banshee's Veil off might be worth it. Randomly Sin Q, random Veigar abilities. Aphelios can try to shoot out a Calibrum Q or something. Lots of different ways for them to try and pop it from a decent range. But we're waiting on Azir to get that death cap, because once that happens, there is a pretty good spike in power there. And Young has pretty decent gold, is only down a little bit of gold, but here comes Call the Forge God.
He's going to go down. Command Attack's going to be able to find out stuff for himself. Ken is using the Haymaker over on the back side, is going to be able to peel away that Banshee's Veil. Now it's over on the side of Orgless. See what they'll be able to do, as Azir backing him up with the help of his soldiers. As they will
Ken, Righteous Glory.
Ken is looking for something here. He's going to use that Righteous Glory. He's going to be jumping onto a Nautilus. Nautilus is going to get that shutdown. Event Horizon going to be used. Going to be able to get the slow, some damage, and that is going to be Nautilus going down now.
Oh,
it's going to be the Kai'Sa. He has
Vex.
stage 3 for Vex and Orgless. They're looking in dire straits.
Yeah, we got super minions crashing in from mid and another wave from top. This is probably just the end of the game unless Young can do something.
Yeah, Young is looking for something, but he's getting zoned out by the Ornn. Ornn is looking to just keep him off. He will trade his life gladly to keep his team in a game. And he goes down, but the Nexus explodes. And issue is critical. They are now 2-0 in the series. And wow, I gotta say, Basic put on a very, very convincing performance there.
Oh yeah, that Lee Sin performance was crazy. That's when you're playing early on in your League of Legends career and you get that Smurf Lee Sin and he's just doing all this crazy stuff, flying around, killing everyone. And you're like, wow, that champion looks fun. And you try to play it and it doesn't go very well. But anyway, yes, very good performance there. And it got kind of dicey because Vex, once again, was very, very strong on this Kai'Sa pick. Actually ended up doing the most damage in the game. But second was the Lee Sin. So once again, the Lee Sin did 23,302 damage. Vex did 25, almost 26,000. And, you look at the gold differential here, and it's pretty much just all on the Lee Sin. Even once the game was over, the Lee Sin had over 17,000 gold. I believe the next highest was actually Vex, who had almost 14. So, yeah. 1,000 gold per kill just about, and a fantastic Lee Sin performance. But more than that, IIC is at match point. 2-0.
Yeah, match point. I think a big thing that they can congratulate themselves on is one, the Lee Sin played out perfectly. Basic did not have a phenomenal game one. He did good in game one, but nothing phenomenal. Wasn't a standout performer. This game, straight up standout performance, was absolutely dominated everybody that he came across. And then you look over and you say, oh, well, the rest of their composition supports everything that went there. So yet again, I feel like Issues Critical has drafted themselves some very strong answers to what Orgless is trying to do. And I think that's a very big thing that you and me have to look at when we're going into game 3 and Orgless as well, because they're at a situation now where they have to turn everything around.
Yeah, and I think it comes down to having multiple ways to engage fights. It sounds like such a simple thing when you think about it, but you look at this team comp and you look at ways that a fight can be engaged from Orgless, and it's like a cannon barrage can slow them down so you can chase them, and Azir can try to do an Azir sec, and then you have Nautilus, who does do a pretty decent job of attempting to engage, but can't go in and just really make things happen all on his own because he'll get blown up. Even with the stone plate, you saw how long it took him to kill him when his stone plate was popped. It was just 3 seconds. So I'm looking for Orgless to have ways to engage fights on their terms and to play the game on their terms, because this game, they were not playing the game on their terms. Vex got fed, but it was because of IIC allowing Vex to function.
Yep, that is absolutely true. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take ourselves a short break. Do not touch your browsers. When we come back, we are on match point as Issue is Critical. They could go ahead and secure their spot in the finals, or Orgless are going to be looking to mount their comeback. So be sure to stay tuned.
Welcome to the world, no heroes and villains. Welcome to the war, we've only begun. So pick up your weapon and face it. There's blood on the ground, go and take it. You get one shot to make it out alive. So higher and higher you chase it. It's deep in your bones, go and take it. This is your moment. Now is your time, so prove yourself and rise, rise. Make them remember you. Push through heaven. Rise, rise. They will remember you. Welcome to the climb up, reach for the summit. Visions brave, the one false step lead the end. So higher and higher you chase it. It's deep in your blood, go and take it. This is your moment. Take to the skies, go. Prove yourself and rise, rise. Make them remember you. Push through heaven. They will remember you. It is you fight among the dead beneath the dirt. Or do you know yet? Or do you want it? And when the giants call to ask you what you're worth, do you know yet? We don't die. Prove yourself and rise, rise. Make them remember you. Push through heaven. Rise, rise. They will remember you.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome on back to UPL. We are in the lower bracket finals with Orgless and Issue is Critical. Right now, Issue is Critical. Currently 2-0 in the series. Currently, my name is Travis C. I'm joined here with Gus. And Gus, right now, give me the winning strategy for Orgless. What is the secret for them to come back? Because they got to mount something here.
I said at the end of last game, I think they need multiple ways to engage a fight. That last game, they just had Nautilus, and sometimes Nautilus just isn't enough on his own. If they had some other way to make sure that they could pick fights on their terms, they probably would have had an easier time, especially with Vex got fed without that. Imagine what could have happened with that. And, maybe take away the Lee Sin, because Basic Blonde had a fantastic game on the Lee Sin, and it's one of those champions where, you can just make so much happen, and you can control the game from the start just so much if you're so good at that champion. Basic Blonde showed that, hey, I'm good enough at that champion to carry a game on it.
Yeah, I definitely got to look at everything. Right, his Lee Sin so confident, so well on it. In game one, he did good. He didn't do anything great, nothing spectacular. He played Graves and really and truly just was better than the opposition in that match. And that was all he needed to do. I am very curious to see what the adaptation is. In draft 2, we saw a complete change around from Orgless. They switched around their bans to getting rid of Zillion and Darius. So I'm going to be very curious if they decide they want to drop the Senna, or they want to say, all right, well, Darius is going to have to be open, or Zillion's going to have to be open.
Yeah, we'll see what adaptations are made. It's just going to come down to how they want to play, because they can leave up the Zillion and Darius if they have a plan for it, instead of just running blind into it, because IIC's bans are the same first two, Ezreal and LeBlanc.
Yeah,
they're going to keep banning Senna, and they ban the Syndra yet again.
Yeah, this time Orgless, their bans are looking exactly the same here on the red side. Game 1 here, Senna, Syndra being banned away. Their last ban was set, actually, so we'll be curious to see if that is going to stay as a ban, or if it will be adapted to being someone else. Silas is going to be banned. A new adaptation here coming out, as I believe that it was banned in ban phase 2 of game 1, and that was it. But Set, gonna be first picked instantly.
Issue is Critical, valuing the Set very highly, willing to take it. Blue first pick there. So we'll see what Orgless is going to do here. Their backs are against the wall. They get no more chances. If they lose this game, it's done. So picking up Ornn, but if you pick up the Ornn, Darius is up, and they just played Set support, so there's no guarantee whatsoever that Set is top.
Yep, absolutely. They've shown that they can flex the Set wherever it needs to go, and the beauty of Set is it is a 4-way flex, and Lee Sin is also open too. That is a very big thing to take note of, and Orgless have been very quick to grab their jungler here. I'm going to be curious if they will again here, and a Trundle to get locked in would be very curious.
Yeah, that may be just wherever Set goes, we're throwing Trundle, because Ornn can go mid. Because I believe someone in LEC played Trundle support into Set support, I do believe. So, getting that pillar. The pillar is one of the most interesting abilities in the game. It can break the pathing. The slow on it's pretty ridiculous. And obviously Trundle's ultimate is amazing. But there's the Lee Sin once again for Basic Blonde. So, yeah, because I'm just thinking about what Trundle can do into this team comp if they don't pick a bunch of tanks. You do see some... some Trundles build the Knight's Vow and the Zeke's Harbinger and just kind of chill when they're in the jungle. Some like to build a little bit of damage. Some build just straight tank. It's pretty interesting because Trundle is just a very unique champion, but Karma being locked in, as long as that's not in Pro Draft error, Karma is also something that can be flexed mid and support. And I guess Karma top is still like a thing that can be played. So we'll see where that Karma ends up going.
I was about to say that Karma seems like a command attack champion, to be honest.
Yeah, because like Karma mid is a thing, but
and honestly, it's a very strong champion. I think it's slept on. I think it's strong in support and in mid lane. So I'm really excited to see exactly how it will go here. And you can see Orgless is kind of like, I don't think
Orgless doesn't think either of those two is a support, apparently.
Yeah, they're saying, all right, we get what you guys are doing. You're trying to bait us into not banning supports here. We're going to ban supports now, haha. But it is going to be something in there, and I believe, like you were talking about, like if with the Trundle versus Set thing, we've seen that. It has not occurred apparently in professional just yet, but I can imagine how the matchup could possibly go
at the same time. But yeah,
that will happen.
So,
sometimes you see the
with
two
the Nautilus locked
together.
in. This is probably just Trundle jungle, unless Ornn is going mid. So, Trundle jungle has seen a bit of a resurgence with the rise of Sejuani once again. So, but picking it, leaves the Lee Sin up, and that's exactly what IIC did, was pick the Lee Sin, banning up the Taric once again. They just do not want IIC to get the Taric. IIC banning the Varus yet again, making sure that if you want a utility AD carry with Engage, you got to pick Ashe. And I don't think Ashe is a Vex champion necessarily when he's been performing so well on Kai'Sa. And, might as well just pick him Kai'Sa again. And now with an actual front line, maybe this is the game where Vex pops off and really hard carries.
Yeah, but they do need to get a secondary damage dealer to be effective with them. A Vayne Hover currently coming out here. This is a very, very interesting matchup for him because there are actually a lot of tanks, and Vayne actually does not look like a bad champion into the amount of tanks they'll be able to shred, and it will get locked in. And now the question is this a support set, or are we going to see another champion go into top lane with Darius, man?
Yeah, we'll see what IIC does with their last pick. It's interesting because there's a lot of different things that can be done. Like, that Karma could go support again if they lock in this Veigar. Set could go support and they could pick something else for top lane. We'll see what they do lock in Lulu.
Ooh.
So Lulu Vayne bottom lane, it seems like. And if you need to buff up a hyper carry, Lulu's your girl.
Yeah, absolutely. Is right now the Kassadin currently being hovered. It would be a very interesting matchup because I think Karma would absolutely make the Kassadin hate some things about life in laning phase. That is what Karma does. She is a lane bully in mid lane, and Cassiopeia seems pretty standard. And would be
from one cast to the other.
Yeah, would be a good. I like this pick. I actually really like this. Cassiopeia. Orgless, I felt like needed a secondary damage dealer. When you have all these tanks, Cassiopeia is actually much easier to play.
Yeah, I was going to say, Kassadin would make sense in terms of the actual lane matchup, and you want someone to do damage, but Cassio functions with the front line that Orgless has for themselves just as well as Kai'Sa does. Someone who has decent range, but not crazy long range, but can put out a ton of DPS. Having the front line in front of you, Cassio can just sit there and DPS along with Vex. Young and Vex would be a demolition crew if they can get the fight set up the way they want.
And they're going to be looking to manipulate the fight the way they need to. This is a much more weirder composition, I would say. Fun fact, if they pick all their champions in order, it looks like, from the side of Issue is Critical. It is Set, Lee Sin, Karma, Vayne, Lulu. Unless they do some weird hijinks with Lulu and Set, that looks like it's going to be the standard bit here, and very interesting strategy coming out from them. I also want to shout out, I love the fact that we're getting to see a Lulu in this, because I think Lulu's really strong right now.
Yeah, I think enchanters in general are just really strong right now, and it's just like pro meta just is like really slow to try anything new. They've been scrimming the same way with these same things since January or the end of December in some cases. So they feel nice and comfy with their tanky supports. They feel nice and comfy playing the Tom Kenches and the Brahms and whatnot. So Enchanter meta was fun back in 2017 with our meta, close to some supports' hearts and despised by a lot of other people. But, Enchanters can completely warp the way a game works.
Yep. Exactly.
Especially one like Lulu that gets to turn people into squirrels or dragons or cupcakes or whatever skin you may have equipped. And, make your Vayne do more damage, be faster, have more HP, whatever Vayne needs, Lulu's there.
Yeah.
So
I love the fact that you talk about enchanters too like that, because when enchanters or tanks come through, it completely changes your bot lane as well. Because you get an enchanter like Lulu or a Janna, you want to go for something that scales a little bit more. You don't go for something that's too terribly aggressive unless enchanters are overtuned by a good bit. You want that Kog'Maw or something like that. When tanks are a thing, you see a lot more early aggression that come out. You see champions that can trade. You see the NF. Lucians are champions that come out during this time. It becomes a very interesting part in the meta. It also becomes very weird too, because support meta is the one that tends to stay the same for the longest period of time out of all the lanes. So it does become a very interesting thing.
yeah, and that's kind of what this bottom lane is going to come down to for Niche and Ken V2 is, are you going to get hooked by Nautilus? Because if you end up getting hooked by Nautilus, you're going to have a rough time, because you both are very squishy champions. Sure, you have your Lulu shield and whatnot to try and mitigate some damage, but Nautilus CCs you and adds stacks for Kai'Sa to pop her passive, and that is a lot of damage to come on out. So we're going to see just how well Lulu and Vayne can dodge around these minions, because we saw Vex get really strong on the Kai'Sa last game. In this game, if that happens again, if Vex is the same level of strength as he was in the last game, this could end very badly for IIC.
I 100% agree. IIC could looking like they could get possibly put on ice, and if this is a game to make a comeback with just the draft alone, I definitely say, well, I love this draft from Orgless. In comparison to the other two games, I didn't like their draft in a lot of different ways, because I felt like they just didn't have the something to make their draft click. In game 2, we saw them build a composition that was full of scaling. In game 1, we saw them build this composition, and it was yet again, you had this early game / mid game that was going for you, and it was very tricky to be able to pull that off. This game, they've got a dedicated front line, they've got some beef, and they've got the damage to really pair together with that, with the Kai'Sa and Cassiopeia. So I'm really interested in this. While over on the other side, Issue is critical. You gotta look at their composition and say this is a risky composition to play.
It is, but one thing we haven't really touched on yet is the fact that Orgless has a bunch of beefy frontliners, and IIC has Set.
Yes.
Set can just suplex someone right on in the middle and just do a ton of damage, because Set's ult at rank 1 does like 40%, I believe, of the target's max health and damage. So if you grab the Ornn and throw them in, even mid-game, into the Cassio and the Kai'Sa, that's a lot of damage to come out of the Set. Probably going to end up seeing Bork Black Cleaver on the Set into the Ornn matchup. That's kind of the go-to build nowadays for that. So we'll see if Basic Blonde can also help that along, because I think that's kind of the key here, is to make sure that Vayne is not the only threat in this comp. If Vayne ends up being the only one to be doing much of anything for Issues Critical, they're going to have a rough time. So if Set gets going, or if Karma just gets this crazy lead where she's actually one-shotting people with her Mantra Q, then, they're in a good spot.
Here's the thing. Karma doesn't need a lead to start doing that early on in the game. You do have to be mindful of that. That champion hurts, man. That champion, you limp away from every encounter with a Karma from level 1 to 6 easily. It's like, oh, she doesn't have any items. This will be fine. Where did my HP go? It was only one ability.
With an ult that you get at level 1.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. It's a very, very, very risky thing for you to have to deal with, and I agree with you 100%. They don't need a single threat. However, Basic's back on Lee Sin, and if we saw anything, he's a threat on Lee Sin.
Yeah, definitely. However, got a lot of extra things to dodge. Petrifying Gaze is always looming whenever there's a Cassiopeia in the game. just one petrifying gaze that stuns 2, 3, 4 people, or even the godlike 5 stun on the petrifying gaze can completely turn a team fight on its head. So, lots of little things to watch out for, lots of little interactions. We're going to see how good Citywitty is at these trundle pillars, because those can make and break little engagements as well. So, lots of little things to keep an eye on as we get into game 3.
Yeah. And, with us going into game 3, we do have to talk about somebody else that we keep our eye on and all that stuff. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for us to talk about Midwest Esports. Midwest has been around for years, starting as a small student group out of Wichita State University. Since then, Midwest Esports has grown to be a veteran organizer to tournaments and events throughout the U.S. Unfortunately, with all the stuff that's going on, they have been doing all sorts of different online events here recently, and it's been absolutely phenomenal. I highly recommend checking out their Twitter, being sure to stay in the loop for all the events that they do. I think they've recently done Overwatch and League of Legends, but be sure to do that. During times like this, we got to do the things that we know how to do, and that's the game on, right? Boot up the computer, play some League of Legends, play some Overwatch, meet some cool people out there. Be sure to check them out as they host tournaments all the time, and they make dealing with having to be stuck inside the house a little bit easier. So be sure to check them out. With that being said, we're going to take ourselves a short break as we get ready for our next game. So be sure not to go anywhere, as we'll be right back. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome on back to UPL. We're in the lower bracket finals, and this could possibly be the last match of the night, as Issue is Critical is currently sitting 2-0 up in the series. as Orgless is over on the red side. But Gus, I don't think we're going to have much time to speak because Orgless is already setting up a cheeky little invade.
Yeah, and it looks like IIC's doing the same, but they're just kind of on opposite sides mid lane from each other.
This is a very scrambled invade coming out.
I don't know that I like invading into a Nautilus, because even if you go in and back off, Nautilus can try and re-engage with his hooks, so this could get a little dicey.
Yeah, this could be a very scary spot. They're going to find themselves getting saw here. Meech is not afraid. Karma lays out some damage. Says, haha,
there's the hook.
But it's the Lulu getting caught. Ken taking so much damage. But it's just a little skirmish. They were trying to get the dream. Remember, I was talking about it. Pentakill. Both teams. They were going for it. I like it. I like it.
Yeah, that's the end goal. But not going to happen. Not this time.
That's a weird end goal to have at the beginning of a game.
Yeah. I mean, you see level 1 pentas pop up on Reddit every once in a while. They're always full of fun and shenanigans.
Yeah, you always love to see them. Fun thing is the bot lane here for the side of Orgless did not recall, so their HP bars do have a small little chunk missing.
Yeah. However, that's good that the Karma's not down there, because it's a little harder for Lulu to poke compared to Karma.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it definitely can be. All right, doing his Darius cosplay from game 1, making sure that Lawrence cannot get to the wave. Instead of a bleed, it's just his fist.
Yeah, and he hit him enough to actually proc the Conqueror, so that's a lot of hits going on. That's why he was half health. And you don't want to sit there and trade blows with Set. Not many champions win that.
No. It's very, very hard to be able to do that. I'll actually be very curious to see how it will go for him. Level 2, you actually see Ornn thinking that there might be a gank coming his way, put a ward in the tri-bush because he knows that he is going to be pushed for a good bit of time. And Lawrence, yet again, just laying out the damage. Trundle is not known to be there, but a Vayne Lulu is not going to naturally push. So
yeah,
hard to gank.
Definitely not, especially as Trundle, because like when you're level 3 as Trundle, your ganks consist of throwing out your pillar, and if it's a good pillar, you can try to run up and auto a little bit. If not, you just kind of laugh and walk away.
You run over and you spam dance. That's what you, if you do not do that as Trundle, you are not a Trundle player. I'm just putting that out there. Trundle requires a special mindset when you play.
I do like the rune choice that City went, though. I love press the attack on Trundle compared to Conqueror, because you're able to just proc it so quickly, and that extra boost of damage when you're probably not going to be building a whole lot of damage items makes it pretty nice, because you get to just take AD with your Q, so you don't necessarily need the Conqueror.
Yeah, I think Conqueror is a trap. If you want my opinion on Trundle, I think it's a trap. Don't do it. I don't like it. I would rather take Aftershock than Conqueror on Trundle.
I mean, you have a way to consistently get Aftershock going if you're good at Trundle.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
That's the thing.
I got a legitimate case for why. But Lulu is going to get grabbed. Dredgeline going around the minion is going to lay out a lot of damage at Plasma. Woo! Laying out the pain.
H didn't actually proc the silver bolts, actually switched targets, so missed out on a bit of damage there in that trade.
Yeah, and Lee Sin is down here in the bot side. Kenny's having to suck down them potions right now. As just took quite a bit of abuse. Found out, oh yeah, Nautilus hitboxes are a fun thing indeed. So, and interesting thing to look at here. I do want to point out, Lee Sin on his first recall actually got himself a longsword and has a Hunter's Talisman for himself. I believe he bat one time already and grabbed that grabbed the longsword over the talisman, but did go back and grab that piece.
Yep, it all builds into Warrior in the end, so it's all good.
In the end, it will still be Warrior.
I mean, I've seen some Cinderhulk Lee Sins, but
we don't talk about those.
Yeah, just like the Cinderhulk Olafs. Like,
let's put it this way: I would rather go Conqueror Trundle than play Aftershock Lee Sin.
Aftershock. What do you mean?
But seeing yet again, lanes are pretty much standard. Nothing too crazy has happened just yet. I feel like we won't see any action until we get around one of these neutral objectives.
I will say though that command attack isn't as oppressive on the Karma as you were kind of expecting in this lane. Actually is down CS with a wave pushing, or yeah, the wave is being pulled in by Young to try and freeze it. So that's actually in a very good spot for Young.
Oh, Meech in a bad spot here. Heal has to be blown by King Beck. Meech is looking for something. His first blood going over to Lutano, but it is the TP. Two people coming in. Command attack's going to be able to find one for himself, and it's going to be a skull breaker.
Oh, that
Flash
haymaker
with the haymaker. Double kill coming on in for basic. As there's some beautiful reactions coming in from Issue is Critical.
Yeah. And once again, Basic 1 getting ahead on the Lee Sin, up 2-0 already. And man, that flash haymaker was something fantastic there, because you know, being able to reposition yourself, get out of that tower aggro, still get the damage down.
It's not even
a beauty.
Not even just that, the face breaker to start it all off too, to line everything up. Like every single thing there coming out from Nart has been phenomenal all series long over in the top lane, and just showing that he is something to be feared up there, especially with setting his hands. As I believe we have a replay of that fight.
So looking down here, we started off, Meech starts taking some damage, gets the Lulu shield, but gets just absolutely destroyed before anyone can do anything. Vex had no HP, however, command attack came on in. There's that showstopper into, but coming back live.
There's a steal! This is just the whole ocean drink. Yet again, making out like a smooth criminal. He's going to go down this time around as he was bouncing around trying to grab a kill for himself. Petrifying Gaze has been used onto Ken, and now Young is just pursuing him. Not going to be able to find anything else there. But they have a sense for whenever you start talking about a replay, because...
Yeah. They're like, we don't care what happened in the past. We're all about the future, and the future is Basic Blonde stealing dragons. But Vayne getting dove.
And here we go, Meech getting dove, and this is what makes a Nautilus so terrifying. City Witty going to be able to succumb in behind him, almost dies himself there as Ken joins the fray down in the bot lane, and that is going to be possibly 2 plates taken here in the benefit of Orgless. Looks like they are going to just back it on up.
Yeah, so Vayne pick not having as stellar of an early game as you could have hoped for here, getting prioritized by City Witty. So a little bit of a rough go there, but once again, Berserker Greaves coming on in and going for that Blade of the Rune King with that longsword and the dagger. But we have a quick little replay of the Dragon Steel. So let's get a look at this here. You can see City Witty just sitting there in the pit. Is level 4. Lee Sin comes on in level 5. The smite left it with 64 HP. And saw the Cassio, went back in, tried to pick up the kill and went down. But Young didn't have enough mana to finish off Ken there. But coming back live, Neuraxis is chasing down Lawrence.
Yeah, Ignite say, hey, get off of me. Lawrence trying to put out the optimal amount of damage that he has in his disposal. And for that, it was the Ignite. So just spellbook things, man.
Cycling through spells. Wants to come back to it a little later.
Yeah. Now the game kind of gone on back, and I believe over here in the top lane we're seeing Shelly. Yep, and it's going to be a tower take coming in here, and this has been just basic for Issue is Critical. They have been doing this so many times inside this game, and I love that this is something that this bot lane is doing, going for the little rocks over here in the bot lane.
Yeah, and it's kind of looking like game 1 a little bit up there in the top lane. There's the Ornn. You know, he's Ornn. He does stuff, but you got yourself a Bruiser in the top lane, building Blade of the Rune King against him. Oh, another hook lands.
Yeah, Depth Charge is going to connect onto the Vayne. They do have the Wild Growth this time to try and keep him alive, but it's going to be the Killer Instinct coming into the bat side. Lulu's going to be able to secure
Lulu's
one.
Gonna get 2!
This is just a scuff dive, though. There's so many people going down. It's going to be a triple kill going over to Candace. That was just absolutely scuff. But here comes the Petrifying Gaze. It's going to be able to come on out. They're going to be able to lay out the damage and get the call of the Forge God to knock him on up. And what is happening under these towers here?
Yeah, a couple of interesting plays under towers here. We got a replay here of the dive onto Vayne, and just look at this hook from Lutano. Gets Vayne, doesn't hit the tower. The depth charge comes in. The wild growth comes in. Ken's at this point. Lutano goes down, but gets back enough mana to shoot out some glitter. Heal actually was blown by Vex there as well. At least Vex got both of those kills. That's the only upside from that, is that, you got your gold on to Vex and you denied Vayne even more. But a little bit interesting there is Neuraxis got Petrifying Gaze under the tower, tanked up the tower, and now Young is pretty strong.
I can't believe we did him like that, showing that replay. But yeah, this is just like a lot of misplays all around the place, though. Like I feel like there's definitely some nerves or something going on.
I think it was just a really good play from Lawrence to be there with the Call of the Forge God. Because
I think so in the mid lane, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but bottom lane, that was a good hook from Lutano to start it, but just took too much damage. And then City subjugated Vayne at the end, so then took aggro as soon as that last shot off of Nautilus, and Nautilus went out of range. The subjugate was going, which gave City aggro, and then Vex had to finish everything off, so then Vex had to take aggro. So just not very efficient aggro trading.
Yeah, it's hard to dive anybody that has a Lulu around them when she's 6. That wild growth makes it very, very hard for you to be successful with this. And the fact they're showing so much pressure, you were talking about it earlier. It looks like the Vayne has a bullseye. Global taunt initialized. Something is going on where they say, Meech, it's your time to suffer.
Yep.
And they are really focusing on them down.
Yeah, and it's going to keep happening, I think, because you look at this, everyone's congregating down for the dragon, and this Nautilus ult just is the best thing to pick out someone like the Vayne, or even a Kaisa if the roles were reversed.
They're starting it. Don't get it stolen again. Whatever you do this time, you gotta win.
The angle's awkward. He can go for it.
They're looking for it.
He's on it!
Basic gets another one. They're gonna look for the engage over here onto the side. Call the Force Guy's gonna be going onto the bot lane. Not gonna be able to connect onto Vayne. It's going to be Kev going on down. Meech is going to be able to use the final hour to tumble on away. It's going to get hooked again underneath the tower. But here you go. Here comes the cavalry. Here comes Lee Sin picking it up with one kill for himself. He's going to go ahead and suplex.
Showstopper.
Beautiful face breaker. He's going to be melting them as his King Bet's left all alone. They clean up the remaining bits. They pick it off. And that is going to be an ace in favor of Issue is Critical.
It looked so bad once Vayne got exploded, but then Young went down, and we need to call Neuraxis Shawn Michaels because that showstopper was amazing. Coming on in, that flash face breaker afterwards. Coming on in, we have a replay of that. Watch this steal from Basic Blonde. Just waiting for Ornn to use that knockup before he can go in. Still a level up on City, but you watch Vayne just attempt to try and do any damage here whatsoever. Actually doesn't even proc the Silver Bolts. Gets rooted up by Nautilus, gets pulled in, but watch Basic Blonde on the top. Young goes down to the Resonating Strike, and here comes Set coming on in with the Lulu Shield. Boom! Big showstopper, flash face breaker, haymaker, everyone's dying, and just fantastic play coming out of Neuraxis and Basic Blonde to try and salvage Vayne being unable to do anything really so far in this game.
And blue buff does go over to Young there. They were able to steal the blue buff for the Cassio, and yeah, these haymakers, man, after the showstoppers, they're not looking like haymakers anymore. They're looking like straight up WMDs, and it has been terrifying. Zitty Witty getting jumped onto, tethered up. He's gonna have to use the subjugate to keep himself okay, and it's gonna be them scurrying on off here while Set is left alone in the bot lane.
Yep, and Vayne is top getting some well-needed solo farm down 30 CS, and 4 and 5 doesn't even have the Blade of the Rune King completed just yet, so Meech is having a rough time, but Neuraxis is very strong, so is Basic Blonde, but he's got hooked.
Yeah, Depth Charge is going to come in, Killer Instinct going to be used, Wild Growth as well, as the Pillar comes in to keep Basic Blonde from going too well. He's like, all right, well, fine, I'll just go this way. Thank you for the Pillar, I guess. I do want to ask you, looking at this, they put so much pressure here in the bottom side. And I feel like this is actually a really bad scenario for Orgless when you put this much time in the bot side and you didn't get tower and you haven't gotten a single Drake yet. You've actually had 2 Drakes stolen from you. It's actually a very big concern to have.
That's just playing something without execute damage against Lee Sin. It's always like, if Lee Sin's there, there's a chance that this gets stolen. Especially when Lee Sin is continually out-leveling you. As a jungler, there's nothing worse than when your team's trying to do an objective and you're like, but guys, the Elise or Lee Sin or Nidalee or whoever has a level up on me. They're 100% going to steal this if we let them in the pit. And your team is like, nah, we got you. And then the Lee Sin just dodges all the Ornn knockups and steals it anyway. And you're just like, oh man, it's a rough one.
Yeah, Basic's doing a Neo impersonation, dodging all the CC as he goes into the pit, just grabbing whatever he can. He's doing a great job for himself, and, you know, War Machine has been doing phenomenal. That is who Basic is, I do believe. War Machine Hyper. But I'm calling him Basic. He's playing on an IGN Basic, but having a phenomenal game for himself.
Yeah, but one thing is, even though this Vayne is far behind, as the game goes later and later, you can never really count out someone who's good at Vayne. There's always the potential for them to just randomly pop off in 1v9 a team fight. Same thing with Kai'Sa. We saw Vex do it last game. He was able to get really strong on Kai'Sa and, you know, come into team fights and get some kills going. So you can never count out either of these hyper carries. And especially Cassiopeia, too, as the game goes longer. The zone control gets more and more powerful, as even the Miasma does a ton of damage later on once you get some AP. So lots of things to look forward to in this game.
The way I look at Vayne is Vayne constantly has the Guile theme from Street Fighter playing in the background, and it's at a low volume at first. It's always constantly there from the second that they die the very first time. But as the game goes on longer and longer, the volume goes up and up until she gets eventually like a triple kill or a pentakill or something like that. And then it's just full blast. But yeah, no, it's definitely... that's my expert analysis on Vayne as a champion.
I agree with you, and we're getting another dragon fight here. We'll see if that comes to fruition. So we're aiming for a triple kill or a pentakill.
Call the Forge guy coming out a little bit premature. Going on to command attack. Nobody's in range to do anything on that. As now it's just going to be them jumping onto the Lee Sin, laying out a lot of damage.
Oh, the showstopper!
In the backside, yet again, melting faces. The Wild Growth is there. The Vayne is here just to deter them all, as they are going to find themselves splitting them, picking them apart. 3 kills, 4 kills.
There's 2 for Vayne. She's going to get the triple.
That's a triple kill. And there you go. Guile theme at max volume.
Oh, man. She got the triple kill. Oh, my word.
And I believe we have a replay, not with the Guile theme in the background, but there is a replay here.
All right, so we're going to pick this up right when Ornn comes in for the knockup. And look, it looks so good, but that showstopper in the face breaker just stuns up everybody. Meech got exhausted, but he wasn't the focus. Neuraxis was blowing people away. And Basic Blonde coming in, and then Meech picks up 1 kill, picks up the 2nd kill, picks up the random triple kill that Travis was talking about. And all of a sudden, things look very dire for Orgless.
Guile theme has been initiated. Comeback mechanism is there. And now this Vayne is starting to look a little bit stronger, because now this is kind of something that was on the back of my mind. Is we've been seeing the top side of the map be so strong, and they've been dedicating all these resources onto the Vayne. What happens when they have to start dedicating resources to everybody else, and the other side's so strong that they leave them just at enough HP for Meech to do a janitor cosplay?
Yeah, and now with those 3 kills, has the pickaxe and the recurve bow towards the Ginsu's Rage Blade. Still is behind to Vex by about 800 gold, so is still behind. But you look at the set, you look at Neuraxis is up like 3,700 gold on the Ornn. Has Blade of the Rune King, has Black Cleaver, is building towards the Stone Plate, and he's the king of the side lane. No one can match him. Young might be able to be there and like clear minions and stop him from actually like killing him, but Neuraxis can do whatever he wants pretty much.
And Neuraxis has been a real just monster inside of this game here, showing why Set was banned inside of game 1 and showing you why you should fear him on this champion. Basic
going in! Whoa!
that was a very big moment of his mind was telling him no, but his body told him yes.
Yeah, he had kick up, but I think he was trying to like insect someone over the wall or something, maybe. But definitely a little bit of a misstep there. But he's building Guardian Angel next.
Flash forward. They're looking for something. Call the Forge guy. Going to be used. Not going to be able to hit anybody with that. And this is kind of an issue I'm starting to see with Orgless. They're a little bit too overcommitted to things that are very high risk or don't have a chance of paying off with this Orin ultimate and whatnot.
Yeah,
it seems they're just really shaken up right now. Like they're trying to rush certain plays, and it's starting to show.
Yeah, they're going for this Baron. Yep,
they have vision.
They're able to get it, but look at Young. He's got Leandri's Torment. He's got the Saris completed now. So now we need to start watching out for that Cassiopeia to start.
Support coming in. Call the Forge guy is not available. They are looking for something possible here. Baron is getting down very, very low. Here we go. This could be a possible team fight. This could be big for either team. As Nautilus not going to be able to get the hood. They are going to be able to get a knockup onto the Lee Sin. Showstopper onto the backside. Lawrence is going to find himself getting jumped onto. Luciano is going to go down. It's going to be supports for support here.
Oh, Condemned!
Going to be able to get it's going to be a Petrifying Gaze. It's going to be able to connect onto the vein. But Narcissus is on the backside. Going to be able to lay out a haymaker. Command attack still alive over onto the backside. But Young injecting that poison right into their veins. Trying to be as toxic as possible can be. Sinking in those twin fins. Now Vets is back here inside of the fight. Basic ball and getting jumped onto. Press the attack has been proc. It doesn't look like they're going to have any further follow-up here. HP bars are very low for Orgless. Command attack still looking for something possible here. Does have to speed up. Is getting that manager Q onto him. Laying out some damage. Has the tether onto him. City Witty is going to find himself getting dropped down. Command attack's going to be able to pick up 1 kill for himself. As they go ahead. They're continuing it on forward. And that's just basic kicking in King Vets' face.
Oh my word!
Possibly. The miasma is there, but he doesn't care about any of that. The double kill coming in. As Lee Sin is absolutely unstoppable. He's going to find himself getting shot down. Lutono now is going to be taken for a ride as Set has rejoined the fray. Command attack finding another prey and another kill. As geez, what is going on in this game? The action just doesn't stop.
So I was just saying about how Cassio was going to become strong, and she did very well in that fight. Did a lot of damage, got a lot down, but then just the re-engage. Command attack was feeling frisky. Coming on in, picking up that kill onto the Trundle as the Baron's going down, probably for free, unless Call the Forge God can steal it, maybe. Potentially, Lawrence really wants to try, but probably just going to say nah. But the chase down potential from this IIC team is actually crazy. Karma was able to keep up with the Trundle in the frozen domain. That's a fast Trundle that you're trying to keep up with there to land that route.
Got them Swifty boots. Got them Swifties. That's all you need, man.
A lot of people are building Swifties now. Just out of nowhere.
I build it on almost all the time, actually. As a support player, I buy them actually quite often.
I actually have seen some supports building them instead of Mobies, but here comes Hex Flash.
Oh, beautiful! Petrifying Gaze! Going to be able to connect onto 2. Lawrence is going to be able to find 1 kill for himself now. They're looking to turn this around onto the Set. Set's going to be able to get a haymaker right before he goes down. That's going to be a shutdown. That's going over to the Kaiser. The Bane is over there. Free hitting. It's got the silver bolts. Procking away. The kick is going to be able to go out onto Young. King Vets is going to use the killer instinct.
Oh, the last shot!
But he's going to be able to get him. That is a triple kill. That's going to be going over to Nietzsche. And they're going to be able to grab their consolation Dragon Soul. Thank you for reminding us that's here. We're going to take that, and issue is critical. Is looking so freaking strong right now.
Yeah, and that fight started out looking very good for Orgless. If we have a replay available, we do. So we're going to watch this amazing Hex Flash coming on into that Petrifying Gaze as well. The Call of Forge God comes in. But it goes the wrong way, I think. If you hit it up towards the top there, instead of just trying to focus Vayne, you have a chance. Because Vayne is free hitting this entire time. Literally just sitting there, not losing any HP. Actually still has the overheal shield on. And just absolutely destroys everybody. Young actually died to Lee Sin, but Meech did so much damage there. And this game is hard mode now for Orgless. Like, you can never count out a Kaisa and a Cassio. But it's going to be really rough for them to come back in this one without some spectacular throws.
I 100% agree with you. We're back in live here, and as you can see right now, they're just trying to secure some defensive vision for themselves, and it's definitely very difficult. And it does come down to how do you put your CC down, who do you apply it on, and who are the major threats. And you can kind of see both. The Orgless is kind of missing on who is going to be the big threat in a lot of these scenarios. Command attack yet again here with basic.
They can't even get a red buff.
They can't get anything inside their own jungle.
Triple buff Lee Sin. Or quadra buff. He's got Infernal Soul too. Quadra buff Lee Sin.
Yeah, quadra buff. I've heard stories of this.
It was just a fable, but a year ago, it was just a fable.
Baron is about to go away, so the legend will die for a little bit. But Basic now trying to find an angle to jump in for. Looking for City Witty, is going to be able to find him, kick him on in. Wildgrave's going to be there to keep himself alive for a bit. Trundle is already dead. The GA has been caught now. It is going to be them looking for more. Set's going to bring him in and drop him on your head as he pops him. That is going to be a quadra kill, and that is going to be the game for the side of Issue is critical.
And wow, what a way to end it. Just looking, the Vayne had such a rough time, but just like we talked about, that random triple kill in that play around the mid lane, coming in clutch, getting that Vayne rolling, and HBK, I mean Naraxis, they're in the top lane, on the set, with the showmakers, the face breakers, the super kicks. Just a fantastic game played by IIC to come back from that early hole that was dug in the bottom lane.
I mean, you have to look at all the different things. They put so much focus in the bot lane, but I feel like I hit on a point myself when I was talking about it earlier, when I was just like, you put all this pressure bot lane, and they didn't get any of the Drakes. They didn't even get bot tower. That's a very, very big thing to take note of when you put that much pressure in and you still don't walk away with the tower.
Yeah.
I feel like Orgless was also very rushed in a lot of the plays that they go. I mean, a lot of people don't talk about it, but in the best of 5, the longer the series goes on, there is a certain amount of pressure, stress, all these different things that can build up on you. And it felt like Orgless was trying to force too many things that were out of their reach, and you saw them get punished.
It was just little things too, like that one that fight behind the dragon when Nautilus Hex flashed over into the Petrifying Gaze. If that Call of the Forge God went up towards everybody else instead of just trying to single out the Vayne, that could have been a completely different fight. There's just a lot of little things here and there that end up adding up into big team fight, not necessarily blunders, but team fights not playing out the way that they could have with the way they started. And you're looking at the stats here, and you just look at what Naraxis did on this set. 19,000 damage in a 27-minute game. That's almost it's not quite 1,000 damage per minute, but it's up in the high 700-800s. So a lot of damage to come on out of there real quick. And even the Karma did out damage both Cassio and Kaisa. So, I know it's Karma and most of it's just meaningless poke, but that just shows you how little damage that the Cassio and Kaisa were actually able to output that game.
Yeah, I mean, we saw them have uses for the miasma and whatnot in certain scenarios, but it turned out into being just a brief inconvenience for them. They just backed off and re-engaged the fight as they pleased, and even fights they lost, right? We saw Command attack, restart the fight in the mid lane, picking off that Trundle, and then being the catalyst to let the Lee Sin jump in and start picking off kills yet again. And the Set, who died at the very beginning, rejoins the fray and punches somebody square in the face. It was disgusting, some of the things that we were able to see. The Lulu pick was very, very good inside of this, kept people alive for long enough. And I think even in the laning phase, we saw its use with that very botched dive that came from
the triple kill,
yeah, the triple kill for Lulu. That was a very botched, scuffed dive that came out from Orgless, and it just kind of showed that they were playing a little sloppy.
Yeah, and they even comboed the Lulu. They used the wild growth on the Lee Sin a lot when he went in to get the knockups, to allow him to not have to use his ward to actually insect someone. Just he can walk while they're knocked up to kick someone back. They did a lot of little cool interactions like that. But to quickly look at the gold difference here, only one person on the side of Orgless had over 10,000 gold, which was Vex. And the lowest amount of gold was the Nautilus support, who had less than 6,000 gold. And Lulu was actually only about 40 gold behind the Orin. So that just kind of paints a picture as to what happened this game. Is Orgless just kind of Vex and Young did what they could. They both did their about 17,000 damage on that shoestring budget that they ended up getting for themselves. But IIC just came in big time. And, First Blood is a big looming challenge for them in the grand finals. But
Both
if
these
they
teams
play,
lost to them.
if they play like they did today, you think maybe they have a shot.
Oh yeah, absolutely. With the way they played today, they could definitely be a big contender. But they have I was talking about mental strength. The last time that First Blood went against them, First Blood swept them. Like that is a thing that's going to be sitting in their head. They're either going to be looking at it, they could play a little scared, but if they play like this and they play with vengeance in their heart, man, this could be it might be a critical issue for First Blood going into the finals. I'm excited to see that for the very least. But that being said, Gus, I don't believe you said it. Do you have an MVP for this series?
Well, the MVP for the series has to be Basic Blonde. Just those two Lee Sin games was amazing. Meech in game one on the Aphelios. So big shout out to that. That Aphelios play in game one was amazing. And to be able to play Vayne and come back in this game was awesome. But Basic Blonde or Hyper had a fantastic series. And game one got stifled a little bit, but when he needed to step up most, he did.
Yeah, I would actually say definitely an honorable shout out to Command Attack and Nara, because Nara was a big deciding factor in game one and game three. And Command Attack throughout the entire series has been.
And just to not leave Ken out, Ken did very well as well. Everyone on ISC
everybody pulled their weight.
Well. Yeah.
In different ways. But yeah, I definitely have to say Basic did exactly what he needed to and just controlled the pace of the game. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you all for coming out to see us here tonight. Our next time Upsurge will be live. It's going to be this Thursday with UML. So be sure to stay tuned for that on Thursday when it comes on around. Be sure to go ahead, set it up on your calendar, pin it, be able to see it. I won't be here yelling at stuff, but I'll be on chat probably. So be sure to check it out and catch all of the fresh action. With that being said, my name's Travis C. I've been joined here by Gus. Hope you all have yourselves a fantastic night.